Thank you, Amanda, for being patient with us, as all 8 captains, 4 for either squad, are at the split face at midfield, as we have a nice south breeze whipping from the south cornfields here at Lucas Field. John will have our weather update. John, go ahead and give us tonight's weather forecast.
Yeah, tonight at Lucas Field, it's going to be 84 degrees at kickoff. We have a southerly 11-mile-an-hour wind and 51% humidity. So overall, nice weather tonight. A little bit warmer than last week, but actually, Jack, looking into next week, I think we're having a little bit cooler game. 72 degrees is what I'm getting as a high for next Friday. So overall, not a bad night for football.
As we're going to go ahead and take it to tonight's scene setter of Labette County Grizzly football on homecoming night.
Also, we have number 3,
Touchdown, Labette County. Jamal Jackson is a blur. Pressure from the right, flips it across his body. Caught, first down, Grizzlies. Quite the impressive student section here tonight. There's just something special about that Grizzly pride. Jamal gets behind him into the secondary.
Holtzman keeps it up the middle. Nice little alley.
Kindle jump pass, and it is tipped by Lawrence. A caught. Touchdown, Grizzlies. Labette County. John, were you paying attention on the coin toss?
Yeah, I got all the captains and stuff.
All right, who are tonight's captains?
For the Fort Scott Tigers, number 3, Chase Heyer. Number 5, Cal Cousins. Number 7, Jasper Allison. And number 28, Cedric Martin. For the Grizzlies tonight, a little bit of change. Three people stay the same most of the time throughout the weeks. So you have number 75, Lane Simmons. Number 76, Chris Stevens. Number 80, Roper Whitley. And number 12, Kendall Holtzman.
Labette County set to receive the opening kick here on homecoming night. First SEK League game of the season. Back deep to return for Labette County is Barrett Heston. Cleats buried in the soil at about the 5-yard line. Creeps up near the 10 now with Lawrence Holt stretched out to his right. Here is the kick, and we are underway from Lucas Field. A nice kick lands about the 8 and stops at the 2. Barrett forced to return, crosses the 10, the 15, sheds a tackle across the 20, and does a nice job as that ball died right at the 2-yard line.
Oh, that's a great kick by the Tigers. I didn't see the number there, but, man, you couldn't have pictured a better kick. Last week we didn't really see a kicker. They kind of just, a little pooch kick over the top. Couldn't really get any depth on it. So it may have caught us off guard there. Barrett did a nice job of making something out of nothing.
As we'll see what Labette County's game plan is here this evening. We talked a little bit about in our pregame show, maybe running the ball, getting that going, then running some play action with Holtzman. We'll see. He's in the gun. The snap. Little pitch out to Jamal. Early touch for Jackson, and tries to tightrope the sideline. Steps out about the 27. As if you're just watching it, that didn't look like a long gain. That's a long 6 for Jamal.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with where we're at. He kind of tiptoed along the side there for quite a bit, as it was just a simple pitch out to this near side. And that's something we're probably going to see a lot tonight, attacking the edges, as I believe Fort Scott's kind of struggled there, similar to us so far this year.
If you are just joining us, Alice Carnahan was homecoming queen, and Hudson Baker was the homecoming king. Here's a 2nd and 4 for the Grizzlies. Quick pass out to the flats to Lawrence Holt, and the catch and run for Lawrence is enough for a Grizzly first down. That's the first movement of the chains here this evening. That paced the ball for Labette County on the right hash at their own 33.
Ooh, I got excited there, Jack. I don't know if you saw what I saw. Number 52, Lucas Hayward, pulled out there. There's a design screen. Threw it to Lawrence. Lucas is actually moving there a little bit, got out in front of him. Just unfortunate Lawrence was able to break a tackle. So there was something there. Something was brewing.
Absolutely. Is already Labette County's not really, and I'm not saying they've ever done this, but this is really simplified football here that we're seeing. They're taking what the men in white are giving them. Here's a give up the middle to Jamal. Nowhere to go this time. Gain of nothing. 2nd down and 10 approaching. If you're just joining us, this is the first drive of the contest. 11:30 left in the first quarter. Labette County working into a nice stout south wind as Xavier Phillips and Kagan Bates trot on, the wideouts on the left side of the field.
Yeah, I don't have all the numbers for the Tigers tonight, but number 73, the defensive lineman, made a nice play of just kind of sitting there and stuffing the run from even getting to go.
As we will correct that, as I was given a roster with not all Fort Scott players on it. Here's a pitch out to Jamal, lowers his head, makes contact with Jasper Allison, and gains a few. Third down and manageable now for the Grizzlies. John, that's something we dealt with at Wellington, like second and long situations, third and long.
So, yeah, you definitely got to get ahead of the down markers. You got to get ahead of the chains. You can't keep putting yourself in situations like this, those third and longs. This is one of the keys we talked about before the game as far as converting the third downs in situations like this to keep the drives moving.
Third down and 7 for the Grizzlies. A couple plays to open the ball game. Very promising. Hopefully they can keep it moving on drive number 1. Fort Scott very active. A 4-3 defensive front in which they pose. As a quick whistle before the snap. Penalty on Labette County, back him up a few yards. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life.
A delay of game? Or that?
Oh, he called delay of game?
Yeah, that's all it was, Jack.
That was an interesting way in which he put his hands. It looked like he put both hands on his body like he was doing the Macarena or something. That didn't look like delay a game.
Maybe they've updated, the handbook for Keisha.
They might have. Illegal procedure or false start. That's a Twitter poll for you. Here's a quick one out to the original line of scrimmage into the hands of Lawrence Holt, and that's where he is decked by Fort Scott. After picking up 1 first down, Labette County hit a stone wall, and on comes the punt team. Landon Jones, transfer punter from Parsons. I got word earlier this week. I actually spoke with Landon. He hurt his shoulder, so that we didn't see Landon last week, and we're not, I'm assuming, going to see him this evening. He was in a sling in the middle of the week. Hopefully we see him back towards the end of the year. Absolutely. So on to punt is Barrett Heston. He will catch the long snap at the 23, get off a nice high kick, spinning backwards, and it hit Lawrence Holt in the back and rolled near midfield. As that was going to land near the 40, it hit Lawrence on the number 1 on his back and rolled backwards to about the 49. So on comes Fort Scott, as they're going to mark it where it hit Lawrence, about the 44.
Yeah, I think that's the rule. It's where the kicking team, touches it, it's get touchdown. You don't get a chance to, move the ball after that or anything like that. I believe that's the rule. Barrett's got a leg on him.
He does. Lennox
that thing was kind of booming.
Van in at quarterback. Thank you so much, Jason. We have now, we're equipped with the correct roster. Little run up the middle for Fort Scott. Gain of a long 3. They give him about 4. 2nd and 6 for Fort Scott.
Yeah, as they just got out here, and it was quick. It was a quick tempo. They didn't waste any time with earning that first play, Jack, so we'll see if they come out with that. All right, so it is the wing tee. That's what we're seeing tonight, Jack, as they have both wings on the edges.
Here's the snap, another give up the middle, and nowhere to go this time. Jasper Allison, the ball carrier, and that will not move the yard marker anywhere. 3rd down, and they say 7 now for Fort Scott. This would be a nice 3-and-out for the Grizzly defense.
Great play there by Roper Whitley to initially make the hit on him, and great job by Bradley Black to get in there and finish the play.
Yeah, Bradley's a name that we didn't say early in the year, those first couple games, but he was the receiver of that pick 6, we'll call it, at the end of the Pittsburgh game. Made some nice plays in the backfield against Wellington last week. Grizzly defense has really put some pieces together nicely. Roper Whitley leads the team in tackles. 3rd down and 7. Little pre-snap movement. Here goes the rock into the hands of the quarterback, and he's way out into the secondary, and nobody's going to catch him, and that's a touchdown for Fort Scott. Lennox Van in the end zone for the first touchdown of the ball game. 6-0 Fort Scott. John, one of your keys was to limit explosive plays, and there was one right there.
Well, there's 2 keys there. It was a 3rd down there, Jack. We couldn't get off the field, and we let up an explosive play, so not doing ourselves any favor with that one. I don't know what happened. Maybe someone just wasn't able to get to their key, which was the quarterback on that play. It happens, but it shouldn't happen, It's just one of those things you can't let happen.
The quarterback, Van, who just ran it in, is on to kick. Here's the snap, hold, kick, and it's perfect. Lennox Van can do it all. Quarterback, kicker, I'll even say running back. 7-0 Fort Scott here early from Altamont. 7:50 first quarter. We'll be back in 1 minute. This is Grizzly football.
Everybody is different. Some get injured, while others simply wear down. Whether it's on the court, on the field, or at the gym, Labette Health's orthopedic and sports medicine team has the training and skill to repair, restore, and renew. We share the same goal, and together we'll write your comeback story. For more information about Southeast Kansas' leading orthopedic and sports medicine team, go to labettehealth.com.
Barrett Heston with a nice return for Labette County, exactly what the doctor ordered. Barrett Heston returns it out near the 40-yard line. We'll see where they mark it exactly. A little shy of that, I suppose, about the 37. But, man, Barrett Heston, John, sneakily making his way into that explosive category. I shouldn't say sneakily. He has exploded into that tier, especially last week.
Yeah, and he doesn't really run like he's explosive either. I don't know how to describe it, but his legs get the distance. He just doesn't, certain run about him. But, yeah, he's definitely been an explosive guy for us.
Jamal up the middle into the shallow fronts of that Fort Scott secondary. We'll see if they give it to him. I think he got it. That should be a first down, Grizzlies, and it is. Move the chains, 1st and 10, LC.
Yeah, speaking of explosive, a nice block laid out there by Lane Simmons, and Lucas Hayward on that left side allowed Jamal to get through there and kind of dot and dash, side to side and get up there for a nice gain of 10.
Jamal averaging 110 yards rushing a game. Here's the first true drop back for Kendall. Slings it right side, and it hits Bates in the chest. Wants a flag, won't get it.
Yeah.
Man, that was kind of a bang-bang situation.
And it's just, I think that one is pretty obvious there. I mean, I know it was quick and it happened, but it seemed pretty obvious that the defender hit Kagan before the ball hit him. And I believe there was a play in the Cardinals-Cowboys game this past Sunday, which unfortunately my Cowboys lost. But Michael Gallup in the end zone, defender hit him before the ball touched Gallup. It's just one of those plays. Bang, bang. Unfortunate for the Grizzlies that the official missed it.
2nd down and 10 after the first true pass from Kendall. Here's another give to Jamal, wrapped up at the line, no gain. 3rd down and 10 again coming up. Labette County had trips to the right that time. Fort Scott didn't fall for it.
And this is what has plagued the Grizzly offense so far this year. They get an incomplete pass on 1st down. They run it right up the middle for no gain on 2nd down. It's just, you're killing your drive when you do that. I mean, I'd prefer if we did a short pass. Obviously, I'm not a coach or anything, so they may have something
those plays
there,
are supposed to work. There's certainly a reason they're calling them, but I understand what you're saying. 3rd down and 10. Here's an out route pass to Lawrence Holt, and it's incomplete. If he would have caught it, I think he would have been right at the 1st down line. 4th and 10. On comes the Grizzly punt team again, led on the field by the towering Hudson Baker, homecoming king this evening. A name we're going to be saying a lot on the hardwood here in a couple months. Excited for that. Barrett Heston on at the 35-yard line of his own to punt it away, wearing 2 white gloves on either paw. 6:40 to go first quarter. Fort Scott leads 7-0. Lennox Van with a long run. It was a quarterback draw up the middle. High snap for Barrett. Catches it with one hand. Drops it on his right foot. Punts it away. Lands near the 30. And that's where it is down by Tayton Claiborne just on this side of it. at the 32. We'd like to thank a few sponsors for making tonight's broadcast possible. Labette Community College, Forbes Hoffman Funeral Homes, Clemens Insurance Agency, Labette Health, Woodworth Enterprises, Carson Wall Funeral Homes, Commercial Bank, Eye Care Associates of Parsons, Labette Bank, Bartlett Co-op, Labette Center for Mental Health Services, Community National Bank, Tank Connection, and Wood Insurance Center. Van under center in motion is Chase Higher, pre-snap motion, and a penalty flag flies. We will see what the call is. 9 times out of 10, this is on the offense, and it is illegal procedure on Fort Scott. To wrap up those great sponsors that allow us to sit in this press box and call these games for you, USD 506, the corner store of Altamont, Olson's Ace Hardware, and invite you to stay tuned for our Eye Care Associates of Parsons halftime show. 1st and 15 for the Travelers up north, Fort Scott. 6:30 to go, first quarter, with the south wind at their back. In solo coverage is Nolan out to the left. Here's a run up the gut, met at the line, and Pyle driven backwards. A loss of a couple. That Grizzly front showing what they can do. And John, something I'm reflecting on here, Van's long touchdown run was kind of one up the middle. So Labette County, usually on the outside is where they struggle giving up those plays.
Yeah, Jack, I don't know if you're looking out. I'm kind of I think I'm seeing the biggest high school football player I've ever seen. Number 73 for the Tigers, Luke Harris, 6'5", 295. I don't think I've ever seen a size like that in a high school football field, as there's a dump off to number 5 of the Tigers.
Van was hit as he threw it and still found a receiver in Cousins.
Sorry about that, Jack, but as I was saying, 6'5", 295, I don't think we've ever seen size like that here at Lucas Field. And on that play, I believe he did run behind him, and I'm just watching him out there. He's just throwing guys around like rag dolls. As if you have that size, I mean, not much you can do going up against it.
3rd down and 10. 3rd down and 10 for the Tigers.
3rd down and 10, it felt like, to be honest with you, that Cousins got more than that. Good opportunity for the Grizzlies. Cousins in motion. It's a pass for Van. Rolls right. Pressured from behind. Tries to look. Surveys. Runs and is brought down. No gain on the tuck and run. And credit the Grizzlies secondary as nobody was open.
Yeah, I believe that one's going to go down as a sack for number 17, Bradley Black, as I think he did lose a yard on that play. So there you go, Bradley. You got a pick, a touchdown, and an interception. You got the trifecta so far this year, so good job, buddy.
Absolutely. He was on the heels that whole entire play of Van. As it's always good, John. It's kind of a sight for sore eyes, and I don't say that to be negative, but to see our opponent punt has to feel good if you're the Grizzlies. Here is the snap, and it's punted away back at the 20. Bit of a low squabbler, but takes a good roll for Fort Scott. It's bobbled by Lawrence, loses it, and it's going to be picked up by Fort Scott, and that's where they're going to get it at the Labette County 43, as Lawrence just couldn't decide if he wanted to pick it up or not, and just kind of fumbled it around a little bit and inevitably lost control of the pigskin.
Yeah, and something similar happened here a couple years ago. Griffin Eaton muffed a punt down here. And it led to a Tiger touchdown in a key situation, so let's hope the Grizzly defense can come out with another stop.
Last week at Wellington, you were sitting right by Griffin. I wonder if you would have said that last week. I'm just poking at you, John. Here's a toss out to the right side, and it's a run good enough for a Fort Scott first down out to the 30 as they just go deeper and deeper into Grizzly territory as they were given the ball right inside of it.
Yes, they have some explosive runners. I mean, Cousins on that run on the dump off earlier, it looked like he gained a lot more, but he was making guys miss, and he got up the field pretty quick. So some more explosive runners we're facing this week, Jack.
Van keeps it, tucks it right into a host of Grizzlies, and is brought down. A couple different Grizzlies in there on the efforts, one of which being Chris Stevens.
I believe we have a Jarman sighting, Jack.
We have a Jarman sighting.
Matthew Jarman came in off the edge and wrapped him up from behind, so nice job, Matthew.
The Megalodon.
I like that one. We're going to have to start referring to him
Matthew
as that.
Jawman. We'll have to see if he likes that or not. 2nd down and 11 for Fort Scott. Here's the snap and a little pitch, kind of like a Pittsburgh play, misdirection. Still on his feet, evading tacklers, is the ball carrier higher and somehow gains 3 yards. John, that should have been a loss for about 4.
Yeah, Barrett Heston had him wrapped up, and he just could not bring him down. And Cousins, when he gets free, he's a little bit quicker than us, so that's what we saw there. He got to the edge, and we just couldn't quite get our hands on him.
3rd and 6 for Fort Scott in there on the tackle for the Grizzlies. Cole Stevens on that previous play, the run by Heyer. Heyer has a nice build. He's low to the ground at 5'7", as yeah, they do have the weight on here. 5'7", 150, good running back. 3rd down and 6. The snap. Van gives it up the gut. Big time run into the secondary, and being dragged down is Allison inside the 15 to the 10, and it will be 1st down and goal for Fort Scott.
You know what, Jack? I think, despite our issues on the edge, I think I'd rather have them run it to the edge at this point. I mean, they keep running it behind those big O linemen there. No, number 73, who we talked about earlier, but number 63 out there, he's a pretty big cat too. Let's see if I can get a name. Eli Martin. I don't think that's the one I'm looking at, but he's a pretty big-sized lineman out there. So
Van takes it, gives it to the jet sweep man in motion. On the ground, Heyer goes into the end zone. Touchdown Fort Scott. Both touchdowns given up on the ground by the Grizzly defense, and not the best first quarter for Grizzly Nation, as they were going to get the ball back, muffed a punt. It happens, but it was still good to see the defense get a stop, and Fort Scott capitalized on a Grizzly defense that's been on the field a lot here early.
Yeah, just poor tackling so far on that drive, as there are several times they had the opportunity to bring the Tiger ball carrier down at the line of scrimmage or before, and we're just unable to do so. And as a defense, you can't allow that. You can't allow poor tackling to be the reason you give up scores.
Van's kick is good. Fort Scott 14, Labette County 0. 2.5 minutes first quarter. We'll be back in 1 minute. This is Grizzly Football.
Labette Community College is meeting the need for an increased demand in qualified radiographers. Our radiography students will train on the latest technology in a hospital simulation environment.
I wanted to be able to go into a career where I could help people, and if you're going to go into that field in this part of the four-state area, LCC is the only place to come.
Tuition is nearly half the cost of universities. Scholarship and financial aid available for those who qualify. Text radiography to 620-293-6671 for more information, or visit labette.edu.
Van kicks it off, and it's fielded by Labette County at their own 35, and no effort on the return, and I say that in a good way. It was a nice, smart play by Bradley Black. He just fell on it at the 35, and that is where Holtzman and company will finally get a chance to come back on.
I don't know, Jack, after that fumble intercept, I don't know what you want to call that touchdown he had, but after that, I don't know. I think I want to see Bradley Black get the ball a little bit. See, he has some wheels on him, believe it or not.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, Bradley's certainly an athletic kid, can play both ways for sure. Good defensive player. 2:20 first quarter, Labette working into the wind, moving left to right. Ball is on the left hash at the 36-yard line to be precise. White Hat looks up at the score operator, potentially wanting a reset. Play clock's at 25. He's still looking up this direction. Neither team's burned a timeout yet. Only stoppages of play for commercials has been because of a Fort Scott touchdown. As John, unless they have two-way jerseys, they don't. Lennox Van is in at safety, or corner, here in front of us. Lennox Van is the kickoff man, the PAT kicker, the quarterback, and a corner.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably not unusual for, Vaughn
True.
to do. His older brother, Malachi Vaughn, was a great quarterback here a couple years ago, all-state wrestler, all-state quarterback, so runs in the family, obviously, as he's a very versatile player for the Tigers.
White Hat still not pleased with what he sees, and now he is. As what was the situation? 2 seconds they needed to add?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
understand that. We waste 30 trying to get 2 added.
As just a little give up the middle, a run out of the shotgun set. As Jamal is helped to his feet by his quarterback, loss of a yard. 2nd and 11 for the Grizzlies, wearing their home reds with gold numbers. Red helmets, gold numbers on those as well.
Yeah, number 78, Jaden Garcia, just blew past our line there. 6'2", 270-pound junior defensive lineman for the Tigers. Made a nice play there.
Trips out to the right. Xavier, lone receiver to the left. Here's a hitch and go. Looking for Xavier. Left side. Incomplete. Hits the dirt. As nice to see Xavier get a target. 6'4" receiver. A senior. Been there a little bit, experienced. He was lethal early on in the season. Still is, but just those plays haven't developed in the perfect manner.
Yeah, and just not much developing down the field for the Grizzlies, as the Tigers have been certainly shut down back there. As you look, they got multiple guys playing both ways, so hopefully, Jack, they get a little bit winded here as the game goes on.
3rd and 11, and Holtzman is going to take a sack way back inside the 25. They're going to mark it at the 23, and it will be 4th down and a country mile for Labette County with 1:45 to go in the first quarter, and they are set to punt it away yet again.
Yeah, and I understand on that one, it's a rollout and stuff, but if you're Kendall Holtzman, you got to understand you have to know where your line is, and you have to know where that rush is coming from. So if it's still a rollout, I understand that you have to be aware of what's coming at you and how you need to just kind of step back, allow Lucas to get there, kind of push him in and step up and make a throw.
Barrett punts the rock away, lands at the 46, and bounces backwards into the arms of Jamal Jackson. Good thing Jamal was there, as it was going to bounce well into the 40-yard line, and that's where it'll be. 1st and 10 Fort Scott. Lennox Van and company comes on at at the Grizzly 46-yard line with 92 seconds to play in the opening quarter from Altamont.
Definitely not the start the Grizzlies wanted to come out. They obviously didn't want to be down 2 scores. Can't allow a third one. I think you have to keep this within 2 or 1 possessions.
Van under center, gives it to the back, up the middle, higher. Had the touchdown earlier, or that might be Allison on the carry. It's Allison. 2nd down and 6.
As I feel like I've heard these names for quite a few years now, as that's another senior for this Tigers team, as they are pretty upperclassmen heavy.
Yeah, as I recognize some of these names from basketball. Cal Cousins, Dub Chipman, Colton Rogers. Very good basketball players. Fort Scott produces good athletes year in and year out. Here's the snap, another give right up the gut, or quarterback keeper rather. Van wrapped up at the line of scrimmage, 3rd down and 6, 50 seconds and counting first quarter. Be nice to get this Grizzly D off the field on this 3rd and 6. They might go for it though if they don't get it, John.
Yeah, that's certainly a possibility, as I believe Hudson Baker got in there on that last tackle, so did Roper Whitley, teaming up to make the stop. Yeah, here we go. One of the keys before the game was 3rd downs. Will the Grizzlies do it here, Jack?
3rd and 6, the snap, a direct drop back, hurling it left, coming back to the ball, and catching the ball is Dub Chipman. I just said his name, and it came into fruition. 1st and 10 Fort Scott, near the Grizzly red zone. In fact, inside of it at the 19.
Yeah, no one had no clue that ball was being thrown. He got beat off the line of scrimmage by number 10 of the Tigers. If I can get roster real quick. Dub Chipman. I don't think no one was ready for that burst of speed from Shipman. It just never got his head turned around as Shipman went up and made a nice play on the ball on this left side.
That will do it for quarter number 1 from Labette County High School. Our Grizzlies trail the Tigers of Fort Scott 14-0 at the end of 1. We'll be back in 1 minute. This is Grizzly football.
At Labette Community College, we're passionate about medicine and compassionate about people. Our highly trained instructors provide innovative career-specific education in the field of diagnostic medical sonography. Do you already have an associate or bachelor's degree in healthcare? Earn an additional certification in sonography. LCC offers a 12-month completely online program with a clinical component. In as little as 1 year, specialize in OB, abdomen, or vascular. For more information, text pound SONO to 620-293-6671 today. Apply online at labette.edu.
Cal Cousins on a little pitch run out to the right side to open up the second quarter. Nice play by, was that Kagan in the backfield initially, John, for a loss of 3 on the carry by Fort Scott?
Yeah, I couldn't really see from my perspective, but I believe it was, as him and Barrett have made a nice tandem back there in the secondary of the Grizzlies. Both are good run defenders.
Same set for Fort Scott. Van under center, fakes the run, keeps it himself, has a very open alley, and then it's closed up quickly by Roper Whitley. Very nice gain, though, for Van. Gain of about 8. Third down and a handful, about 4 for the Tigers. 11 minutes, 10 seconds.
Yeah, so for the Grizzly
Second
defense,
quarter.
everyone has a key, right? Whether it's that first dive, the quarterback, or the pitch. And they have to get to those keys quickly, otherwise these gains are going to happen. You know, those alleys are going to be there. It's a triple option, so they have multiple ways of moving the ball forward.
10:50 mark in the first half. Third down and a long 4, they say. The back behind Van is Jasper Allison. Man in motion, Colton Rogers settles at the left side of the line. And we have a couple whistles, perhaps a timeout Fort Scott and Coach Graham, and it is first timeout from either head coach. We'd like to run through our list of sponsors again. We'd like to thank Labette Community College, Forbes Hoffman Funeral Homes, Clemens Insurance Agency, Labette Health, Woodworth Enterprises, Carson Wall Funeral Homes, Commercial Bank, Eye Care Associates of Parsons, Labette Bank, the Bartlett Co-op, Labette Center for Mental Health Services, Community National Bank, Tank Connection, Wood Insurance Center, USD 506, the Corner Store of Altamont, Olson Ace Hardware, and invite you to stay tuned again for our Eye Care Associates of Parsons halftime show. It would be nice to keep Fort Scott out of the end zone before, well, I guess not before halftime, but this drive, as we still have 11 minutes to go in the second quarter, but it just can't get ugly, John.
Yeah, you have to stop the bleeding here and get it off the field if you're the Grizzlies. Once again, third down. Got to get off the field. Can you do it, Grizzlies?
Halfback is Allison behind Van. Same set before the timeout. Cousins to the left. Here's the snap. Give to Allison. Ripped to the ground. Not before getting the first down. It looked like from this angle the contact might have been made behind the line of scrimmage and he was whipped forward. But I'm obviously well wrong on that. 1st and 10, Fort Scott.
Yeah, as I can't really quite see what's going on from my angle, but just another, shooting yourself in the foot here if you're the defense. You have to get off the field there.
1st and goal for Scott. They just continue to run it up the gut, and a wall of red awaits Allison up the right-hand side of the hash. Tayton Claiborne in there on the effort, or pardon me, that's Bradley Black in there. I'm sure Tayton was around the area too.
Yeah, just got to stem the tide if you're this Angry Red defense.
2nd and goal from the 5. Here's the snap. Another give, and he's met at the line. This time it was a gain of 0 for the ball carrier, Rogers. Host of Grizzlies in there. I see Bradley Black getting up yet again alongside Cole Stevens.
Yeah, and I'm sure both of those guys have watched a lot of film this week, I'm sure of it. So they're making a bunch of plays here. They're reading their keys really well. And right now, Jack, they're holding. Can they do it for 2 more downs, though?
Be prepared for a bit of a play-action rollout from Van. He can run as well. Had a 50-yard touchdown earlier. 3rd and goal from the 5. The snap. He keeps it, pitches it, ball's loose. It's bobbled and picked up by Labette County. Big-time turnover by this Grizzly defense. And what do you know it? Lawrence Holt falls on the ball. He muffed a punt earlier. That is great for Lawrence Holt to retrieve a fumble on the opposite side of the ball.
And I couldn't quite see what happened. Was it a scoop or did he just fall on top of it, Jack?
Both. He was down.
He was down,
but
okay.
Kind of scraped the knee. One of those situations.
I couldn't see quite what happened. I was wondering why he wasn't running or anything. So the way he got up, looked like he just kind of grabbed it and went. But yeah, big stop there from the Grizzlies. Keep this within a 2-possession game, and hopefully, if you're the offense, you can go down and get some points on the board.
Hopefully that's a play we look back on in our victorious postgame show. Here's a whip from Holtzman to the right side. Bubble caught! Somehow caught! Barrett Heston, unbelievable tip drill near the 40 out to the 45. Barrett Heston has come to play some football the last 2 weeks.
How about that? Barrett Heston once again made a couple nice plays last week. 50-50 ball. He shouldn't have got this ball at all, Jack. He shouldn't have.
Wow.
It should have been an interception going the other way, but wow, what a play by Barrett to give himself the chance, kind of tipped it back to himself. Made a nice play on the ball.
First and 10 Grizzlies at their own 44. An explosive play after a defensive turnover and nowhere to go for Jamal Jackson. They've bottled them up pretty well. First couple plays of the game were progressive on the ground for Labette, but it's been nada since then. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, it looks like there's a trap play or something pulling guard. Lane Simmons, unfortunately, said, I don't want to pick on guys or anything, but he'll go back and look at the film and see if he was able to reach out there and get number 73 before he wrapped up Jamal.
I have gotten my first look at Luke Harris of Fort Scott. I can validate John's statement. That is a large man. Well-built defensive lineman. Luke Harris stands at 6'5", 295, and I say that in a complimentive manner. That is a heck of an offensive and defensive lineman for Fort Scott, as Labette County throws an incomplete pass out to the left flats, looking for Kagan Bates. 3rd down and long, 3rd and 11 for Labette.
Yeah, why don't we get guys like that, come in, standing at 6'5", 295? It'd be nice, but Grizzlies have done a really nice job, their strength and weight training programs to build up what they have.
Here's Holtzman in the pocket, tries to avoid a sack, sheds one tackler, and is brought down from behind. 4th down and 10 for the Grizzlies, and they're going to have to punt it away again. Promising drive, especially after a defensive turnover picked up by Lawrence Holt, as it's so good to see down there on the sideline for Labette County. Wyatt Kepley hurt his knee about a month ago, I think, pretty badly. So it's great to see Wyatt Kepley wearing 59 down there on the sideline for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, that play Barrett made earlier was huge as regards for field position, as they're able to flip the field to get out of their side of the field.
Barrett with a good punt down to the 23 of Fort Scott. So finally, Fort Scott will have to go somewhat the length of the field as if it was a kickoff for the first time here this evening. 7 minutes to go first half. The clock's running.
As it shouldn't be. I think they got to stop now, so see if any of the officials notice that, maybe put a couple more seconds on. Hope we'll get this game moving along, as there's some momentum for this Grizzly defense after that turnover last drive.
Van tries to hard count Chris Stevens, and Hudson Baker almost gets both of them to bite. No call. 1st and 10, Fort Scott, own 23. Here's the snap. Van, pitch out left side. It's caught this time by Hire. Tries to find room, cuts up the middle, and is brought down after a gain of 9 by Cole Stevens.
Yes, Cole is used to be a linebacker, converted to nose tackle, and he's done a nice job there as he's a pretty quick guy, built too, so another nice piece of that Grizzly defense.
Second and a short one for Fort Scott, a run-heavy offense for sure. 6:30 to go in the half. 14-0 visitors. Here's the snap, give up the middle, or pardon me, he kept it. Van gains about 7. He's tricking me on some of these, John.
Yeah, and if you're really good at it with those fake handoffs and stuff, it could be very deadly. You know, get some prying eyes in that backfield to go to it, miss their key. You're off to the races if you're the Tigers.
We saw that early on as about a 45, 50-yard touchdown run from Van to open the scoring tonight. 6-minute mark, snap, jet sweep, left side, Hire, cuts up the edge. First down, Tigers across midfield into Grizzly territory. 1st and 10, Fort Scott.
Yep, that was that wing sweep we saw a couple weeks ago in Parsons. They handed it off to, forget his name for Parsons, but what's a 30-yard touchdown, I believe, and wonder if Fort Scott saw that film and picked up on it as they added that to their arsenal. And we haven't seen that so far tonight, so another element to watch out for if you're this defense coming into a new set of downs.
1st and 10, Fort Scott across midfield, working left to right. Give up the gut. I think it's Allison on the carry into multiple bodies for either squad. Tatum Claiborne gets up with a little bit of authority. So does Chris Stevens and Hudson Baker for Labette County. 2nd and 5, Fort Scott.
But, man, as you look at that offensive line, I know a nice play by the Grizzlies, but, man, those big guys are getting down the field in a hurry. Adam Wright and Luke Harris, I mean, they were 10 yards down the field before the whistle was blown.
Here's the snap, bit of an option, pitch right side, and he's hit from behind. Roper Whitley is a heat-seeking missile, and he clocked the ball carrier, Cousins, around the right bend. Or pardon me, that was Hire.
Yeah, it'll bring up another 1st down, because the Grizzlies got to find a way to get them a 3rd down and give yourself a chance to get off the field. Did so last time. Can they do it again? Is that something they've really struggled with so far in this early part of the season? Got to get it put together here in league play.
4:30 to go in the half. Fort Scott being patient here. Burn a lot of time off the clock. Van under center. Snap. Keeps it. Pitches it. Left side Hire yet again. Turns up the corner. He's speedy at 5'7". Gets the 1st down. Moves the chains inside the 30.
Rolling on. Had a chance on the outside to make a play. Froze his feet a little bit, just wasn't able to get a hands on him, as you said. Real explosive runner at standing at only, what is it, 5'7", 5'3"?
5'7".
5'7". So, yeah, that short, stocky frame, get those legs moving. He's pretty quick with it.
As here's the snap again, it goes to Hire. Or pardon me, man, they look so similar. It's Cousins, and he burst into the secondary and scores. As Fort Scott keeps piling it on, I look down at his number, I look up, and he's in the end zone, 20-0 Fort Scott, as both Cal Cousins and Chase Hire are 5'7". Cousins is 20 pounds heavier, so they look quite similar down there on the field, as Van is on to kick and try to stretch this out even further for Fort Scott. He's 2 for 2 on PATs this evening. The holder is his running back, Allison. They have a committee that does it all. The snap and the kick is blocked by Labette County. As 2 for 3 on the efforts are Van off the PATs. That halts the score at 20-0 Fort Scott. We'll be back in 1 minute. This is Grizzly Football.
Unbelievable! Sparklight is unveiling unlimited internet for just $25 a month. Get reliable 100 meg internet for just $25 a month for 12 months with unlimited data. That's unlimited internet. Call 877-469-3057 or visit sparklight.com/savings. Sparklight, a new breed in high speed.
Discover what you've been missing in Parsons, Kansas. Curious Minds Discovery Zone, a children's museum that inspires a love of learning, with hands-on exhibits for all ages to imagine, create, learn, and discover. Kids enjoy looking through microscopes, building on our magnetic ball run wall, creative play in our doctor's office or grocery store, and lots more. Discover, explore, Parsons, Kansas.
Lennox Van to kick it away. Ball at the middle of the field on the 40-yard line. Low squib, kinda sorta, lands at the 25, bobbled again by Barrett. He's been a good return man this evening. Comes across the 20, tries to cut it around the right side, is pulled down by the jersey near his left shoulder pad, and after he's on the ground, a flag flies.
As I don't know if they're going to get a late hit or potentially a face mask. I don't know if I couldn't really see what happened there, but the way he got jerked back, you wonder if someone maybe got a piece of that face mask.
As it was far too late in the kickoff procedure for it to be like holding or blocking the back on Labette. It was after Barrett was ripped to the ground when the flag came out, as Coach Graham of Fort Scott is receiving an explanation there on the far east side of the field. Labette will move right to left when they get the chance. Is that taunting? That's taunting.
Oh.
Or unsportsmanlike. Not unsportsmanlike, we'll just say, on Fort Scott. So that'll step it forward this direction for Labette County with an even 4 minutes to work. As let's play a little bit of Wellington mind games, as this is similar to Wellington's game last week in terms of our talk. Do you have to score before half?
Yeah, you definitely. I don't think there's any choice in this one, Jack. You have to get points on the board. If you don't, I don't think you have a chance of coming back in the second half the way the offense of the Tigers is moving. Unless you come out and just show something different, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think you have to give yourself a chance to make a comeback down 2 scores.
Fort Scott is a team that runs a lot of clock. That does factor, at least maybe a possession worth of your efforts. Trips right, Phillips on the far side. Here's the snap. A nice block picked up by Labette County. Here's Jackson bursting his way down the left sideline. He's fast. Cuts it in across the 25. Man on his heels. You betcha he won't catch him. Touchdown Grizzlies. Jamal Jackson outstanding on the ground this season for the Grizzlies. And that's the first score for Labette County here tonight. We spoke it into existence, 20-6. Fort Scott.
Yeah, some nice blocking on the edge by Lawrence Holt down the field, allowed Jamal to get back out there. And if I could get a jersey number, I believe it was Lucas Hayward pulled out there, made a nice block to help spring Jamal free. But, man, you just saw the burst. We know how athletic this Tiger defense is. Jamal outran them all.
You put Jamal in a space that's even somewhat open field, it's over. It's over.
Not
it's
much
over.
you can do. Not much you
Sometimes
can do.
there's a lot of guys that are fast. As here's the snap, hold kick, perfect. Nolan Nash, as he did kick some PATs at Wellington while he was still limited on snaps a little bit. So it's good to see one go through the uprights for Nolan. 20-7, Labette needed it. Now you can get a stop and maybe score again. That's the exciting thing about momentum. But, John, as I was saying, there's a ton of players that are fast. A lot. Not all of those guys are athletic as well. Jamal he was a natural-born running back. He's athletic and fast.
Yeah, and he's got a little bit. He's shown he can run with some power too, running through some tackles and stuff. So that's another element you got to factor in if you're a defense. But man, I think Jamal is the fastest one out there by far. As I don't think there's anyone that can really touch him, as he is a pretty well known in the state for his speed in the 400. I don't know what he placed there, but man, he's just a special talent to have.
We'll go ahead and keep it here. I usually like to take a timeout after touchdowns, but that was kind of exciting. Jamal Jackson, seeing his growth. Like to talk about him a little bit. He is still just a sophomore for any outsiders watching. So certainly Jamal Jackson is somebody in which we are very excited about. Very talented sophomore class here at Labette playing football. 3:46 to go in the half, 20-7 Fort Scott. As Cal Cousins has 2 return touchdowns on the season. I was told by Fort Scott's radio man, that's my source here, so certainly watch out for him. Ball is laid flat on the ground, no tee, so it might be an onside or a squib, as it's more so a squib. Kicked away, caught at the 40, and that's where he goes down, so not bad by Labette County's special teams. 1st and 10 Fort Scott at their own 41.
And man, I know this isn't how the first half, you wanted to go for the Grizzlies, but this coaching staff is coaching their butt off. I mean, they have them in positions to make plays, and they've done a really nice job. It's just about the execution part of it just hasn't been there, and thank goodness we have a Jamal Jackson. Otherwise, we may still be down 20-0, still trying to find a way to score some points.
1st and 10, Van, little misdirection. It's given around the right side, and getting right to midfield, the Grizzly logo, is Cal Cousins, and it'll be 2nd down and short for Fort Scott. We do not, and forgive me, we don't rave enough about Labette County's coaching staff. Bradley Argabright, head coach, of course, Sean Price. Bradley Argabright, Davey Brown, Mike Hayward, Travis Hurley, Richard Pierce, Tanner Russell. I have the privilege of knowing those guys, and they are fantastic individuals. So knowing these kids are around those guys all summer warms my heart. 2nd down and 3, little pre-snap penalty, false start, or illegal procedure. That's still out in the jury, John. That's kind of our running joke this season.
I haven't ran into Steve so far, so I can't clarify that one. But, 2 guys go in motion there. Cousins and Higher, I believe, on the other side, or is that Shipman? Either way, both wings kind of motion together, so a little bit miscommunication on the Tigers' part.
3:09 to go in the half. Clock is stopped. Fort Scott 20, Labette 7. Coach Price still has all 3 timeouts in his back pocket. 2nd down and 8 after the illegal procedure penalty. Van under center as always. The snap. It's a drop back pass. Slant across the middle. He's wide open. It is caught. Higher walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Fort Scott. That is what makes some of that misdirection option game so lethal, is if it's successful at any moment you can pull it, and sometimes those safeties aren't going to be there, and they weren't that time. Touchdown, Fort Scott, 26-7.
Yeah, and that one's going to be on Kagan Bates. He was his near side safety, and that kind of set, he would have had the tight end there, and just no one was on him as he just kind of just ran down the field and no one was there. As Kagan was up playing the run, bit too hard and just wasn't there to make the play.
The type of offense that Fort Scott runs sucks in, for lack of a better term, those linebackers, safeties, and corners, as Van's 2-point run is successful to kind of even out that score after the missed PAT blocked by Labette last time. So that'll bring the score with an even 3 minutes to go in the half. Fort Scott 28, Labette 7. We'll be back in 1 minute. This is Grizzly football.
Everybody is different. Some get injured, while others simply wear down. Whether it's on the court, on the field, or at the gym, Labette Health's orthopedic and sports medicine team has the training and skill to repair, restore, and renew. We share the same goal, and together we'll write your comeback story. For more information about Southeast Kansas' leading orthopedic and sports medicine team, go to labettehealth.com.
Kickoff fielded by Nolan Harity of Labette County. at their own 30. So it will be 1st and 10 Grizzlies at their own 30 on the left hash, working right to left upon the field. 2:58 to go in the half, 3 timeouts, so plenty of time and timeouts to work with. 28-7 Fort Scott. Similar situation to Wellington last week. It doesn't really matter how you get to that 2-possession differential, just get there. So you got to respond here if you're Holtzman and the rest of your weapons. Bit of a high snap. They give to Jamal, hit hard this time. And big 73, Luke Harris is in there to act as the janitor and clean up the mess underneath. 2nd down and 10.
Gosh, that could not be fun to have land on you if you're Jamal, or even be hit by. Man, that is a big, big Tiger defensive lineman. Jack, we find ourselves in the same situation as last time. Got to find a way to score. You can't go into the half down 3 scores if you want a chance to win this one.
The clap, the snap. Better protected this time. Holtzman hurls, flag down, and it is incomplete, but a flag down back where Holtzman was inside a collapsing pocket. Probably a hold on Labette, but that was good protection, though, by Labette's offensive line. It truly was. It is a hold on Labette, so they might actually get a play back. As would you rather have 2nd and 20 or 3rd and 10?
I'd rather have 2nd and 20, to be honest.
Me too. That's what I'm saying. I'm assuming that's where it's going to go. High school rules continue to blow my mind every week, as Fort Scott might have declined it.
Yep.
That's smart. Hey, they agree with us.
Yeah, you can't allow another down to have an explosive play like we saw last time. I think that's kind of going to trigger into some decision-making for both sides, going in how they want to approach this game.
3rd and 10. Fort Scott, as slow-moving as they are, showed they can score in the blink of an eye. So got to convert here for Labette County. Bates in motion, runs in front of Holtzman. It's a pass. Another well-protected pocket. Nice pitch and catch, caught by Phillips. Makes a man miss, lowers his shoulder near midfield, and gets there. 1st and 10 Grizzlies. They needed it. Pitch and catch of about 20 to Xavier Phillips.
Yeah, you motion Kagan Bates over to the other side. Draw that safety's eyes away from Xavier Phillips as he ran a nice comeback route one-on-one.
Wide
That's
open.
what the Grizzlies have done a nice job of. He's playing that Matthew Boyle role from last year. Great route runner on the outside for us. Just a nice comeback route there.
Holtzman on 1st and 10, well protected again across the middle. Out of reach for Kagan Bates and almost intercepted by Brody Gomez. As Fort Scott has a couple they would think maybe should have been picked, but out of reach for both Bates and Gomez there. But he was there, man.
Yeah, just put too much on it. Let one sail a bit, and I know Kendall wants that one back as Kagan was wide open. If he hit him, he had a chance to, pick up a couple more yards before being brought down. So the run after catch opportunities have been there so far tonight for this Grizzly receiving corps.
2nd and 10 for the Grizzlies. Another pass. Pressured this time. Nice block picked up, though, by Labette County's Matthew Jarman. Here's a pitch to the right, complete. Nolan Nash, the recipient. 3rd down and 7. Nolan Nash with his first reception in a couple weeks. 90 seconds and moving, first half. As if you don't get it, do you go for it, let the clock run down a little bit on 4th? Should you not get it, of course.
Well, it depends where the 4th down is going to be at. If it's a short 4th down, you go for it. If not, you punt it.
Here's the snap. Big play. Pitch. Catch. Bates needs to lean forward. Makes a man miss and gets it. 1st down. Grizzlies hit from behind and falls forward at the 37. Timeout Grizzlies. 1:09 on the clock. And Labette County is playing the 2-minute offense quite well here. We'll return in 30 seconds. Grizzlies moving the ball on KLKC.
Hi, I'm Shelby, one of the pharmacists at Bowen Pharmacy. Not only do we keep you up to date on your COVID and flu vaccines, but we also offer pneumonia, shingles, hepatitis, meningitis, tetanus, and whooping cough vaccines. Based on the latest CDC guidelines, we can recommend the vaccines to keep you and your family healthy. Thank you for always choosing Bowen Pharmacy. We're here today and we'll be here tomorrow.
Some unfortunate news to address you with coming out of the break. Kagan Bates, after the big first down, made a man miss and got it for the Grizzlies. Got up with his left hand hurt. He's holding it. Took a little while to get off the field, wincing quite badly, being tended to by Dr. Ben Cochran down there on the bench. We sure hope Kagan's left hand, wrist, forearm is okay. Mike Hayward comes over to console the young receiver. Meanwhile, Holtzman's in a collapsing pocket, runs, gets into the shallow levels, gets to the 30, and a nice run of about 8 for Kendall.
Yeah, I don't mind the run there, but he had Nolan Nash wide open to his right. If he had just taken a peek at him, Nolan had a chance to catch that and maybe gain a couple more yards than what Kendall did. Have a chance to get out of bounds, too, so that's huge right now to get out of bounds and stop the clock.
43 seconds, the snap. He's going for blood, pitches it right side, way out of the head, over the head, I should say, of Nolan Nash. 3rd down and 2 now. Cornerback Dub Chipman on Nolan.
Well, you got to play this one, get yourself halfway to the end zone here. Yes. I don't think you go shorter than that on this down, because you only have 40 seconds. You don't have a kicker. You can make a field goal, like we've seen from other teams so far.
Yeah.
So you got to help yourselves out here.
You have 2 timeouts. You want to get to the point of the field where the downs is what is going to matter, not the clock, where you can just go end zone, end zone, end zone. Here's the snap, slant, in and out of the hands of Xavier Phillips. He knows he should have had it. He kind of held his hands there.
Yeah, and he's had a couple drops so far this year. Wonder if he just needs to get him a jugs machine to help correct some of that stuff or something like that. But Grizzlies are not helping themselves out here at all.
4th down and 3 is now. The clock is the last thing on your list of importance. As if you don't get this, it doesn't matter how much time's left. So move those chains here if you're Labette. 4th and 3, ball's at the middle of the field. Holtzman with Jackson right behind him. Holtzman claps and takes the snap. Looks left, throws left, caught by Phillips. And it's going to be enough for a first down. 31 seconds, timeout Grizzlies. That's all you needed. You can exhale. You have a wind at your back. The ball is at the 25 with 31 seconds to go and a timeout to work with.
Yeah, Jack, you can either go medium or short here. You know, pick and choose, but you only have one of those. Once you clock it, that's probably going to be it. I don't think you're going to have too much time to get back up on the ball to spike it or anything like that. So you have one play to get yourself closer, then the rest have to be to the end zone.
Invite you to stay tuned here momentarily for our Eye Care Associates of Parsons halftime show. Caleb, would you run in there and ask them if Labette has 2 timeouts or 1? I thought maybe they spent one when Kagan hurt his hand. Thank you, Caleb. We're going to get some confirmation there as they still have 2 timeouts for Coach Price on the scoreboard. Maybe we were awarded kind of a passive timeout because of Kagan's injury. I know sometimes you're forced to spend that timeout because, you know, a player could always fake an injury and then get a free timeout. That's not what Kagan was doing, but Labette still has 2 timeouts remaining. Same formation for Labette County, 31 seconds to go. Still awaiting confirmation. I'm going to try to run the camera here and commentate at the same time. Holt in motion, settles in the left slot. Here's the snap. Holtzman retreats, pressured in his face, hurls it right side to the end zone, and well defended by the corner, Dub Chipman, as Caleb McKee, our cameraman, returned in the perfect amount of time.
Yeah, great defense by Chipman there as he put himself in a position where Barrett couldn't really get out there to get towards the ball. He kind of boxed him out, so to say. So really fundamental and great defense by Chipman on that outside there.
As we didn't get really a clear answer on the timeout situation, as it's still 2 on the scoreboard. We think it's 1. As that really could be crucial here should Labette County start to threaten a scoring touchdown here, because there's 24 seconds left. They're going to need those timeouts or that 1 timeout. Little bit of a blitz by Fort Scott. Holtzman gets it off right before he's hit to the end zone, and this one's finally intercepted. I say finally because a few other ones almost were picked off prior, as being hit out of bounds as Cal Cousins, as we do have a flag down at the line of scrimmage. as we'll see, as Holtzman was clocked right after he got it off.
If you're a Grizzly fan, you're hoping it's going to be a rough in the pass or get that one
Yeah.
back, as he wasn't able to quite put his full force into that one, kind of threw it off the back foot.
Yeah, that's not really on Kendall. I mean, he was hit. It's not on really anybody. Picks happen, and that was one that's very excusable. Pocket collapsed. They blitzed. He had to get it off, as Fort Scott is probably feeling like they were due to get an interception. As on this drive, they've had 3 go in between their hands. As the refs are discussing, the Grizzly defense is on the field, so that's not really ever a positive sign, as thinking it might be against your opponent.
As I don't know, Wayne Simmons is kind of out there on the field too, so you're kind of waiting
Yeah.
to see, as there's a conversation going on at midfield.
As that's our only hope, is roughing the passer. Is they did send an extra backer, and he was hit pretty good, as Michael Reed is clapping. So maybe he heard something the White Hat said, as now both head coaches get an explanation. This would be huge, as they should if it is on Fort Scott, as it looks like, because Fort Scott, their defense is on the field now, there should be time added back on. I mean, right? Or maybe not.
Well, did the clock run after that play, or?
Well, yeah, as he was running the ball back to the 30, the interceptor, yes.
No, it wouldn't.
It would
That'd
stay?
Yeah, it'd have to.
Okay.
So play isn't technically dead there. It's just the flag was thrown at that point.
Understood. That's why I got you here, John. Many other reasons, but that's one of them. So it will be Labette County ball, as we haven't gotten a signal. But Labette County's offense is in a huddle, and Fort Scott's ready for defense. The chains are set up for Labette to move right to left, and it was unsportsmanlike conduct. We will just roll the dice and go with roughing the passer. That's not the signal for it, but
that's where the flag was thrown at.
Something like that. Something, yeah.
There is an actual call for that in high school football, so I guess they didn't get that. It must have been something else.
So now what helps a lot is that the time that ran off whenever the ball was picked by Cousins doesn't hurt a lot. You have 11.7 seconds, but the ball's on the 10. Big time play. 1st and goal. Here's the snap. A pitch right corner of the end zone. That's got to be interference. He never turned around, and they throw the flag. The corner never turned to face the quarterback. It's Cousins in coverage. 7 seconds to go in the game. And I know at other levels that'll put the ball at the 1, but maybe it's just half the distance here in high school.
Yeah, I think it is just going to be half the distance to the goal line, as Nolan Nash still had a chance to make a play on the ball. Just the interference just kind of threw that one off.
They do split the difference. 6.9 seconds to go in the half. Labette with 2 timeouts, but those probably won't matter because you're going to go for the end zone. You got 2 shots at the end zone here. Ball is at the 5, middle of the field. Fort Scott leads 28-7. You need to score before halftime. Jackson behind Holtzman. Kendall, I think he got Fort Scott to jump, as Grizzly Nation agrees with me. If it's false start, that would hurt.
What a smart play by the Grizzlies to freeze them there.
Yeah.
Get them to jump off sides, and you set yourself up. QB sneak here. I think you have time, and you have a timeout.
You have a timeout. You have a timeout. So if you don't get the QB sneak, it was offsides on Fort Scott, as it doesn't move it forward that much, though.
Oh. My fault, Jack. I thought that was just going to be a quick 5-yard penalty. I don't know if
they moved it half the distance from the 5. So the ball is at pretty much the 2.5-yard line where you would be for a 2-point conversion. So you have 2 attempts at a 2-point conversion essentially here in this moment.
I hate that that's the way the rule is down on the goal line, because it's a 5-yard penalty at any other
Here's the
spot
snap. They go right up the gut with Jamal's second running touchdown is good for Jamal Jackson. Labette County needed it, and their offense gave it to them. 28-13 extra point pending. Labette didn't need to use all those silly timeouts, all those useless seconds. Jamal Jackson got it done.
Man, that felt like a long time there to get that ball into the end zone. And they did what they needed to do this time. They weren't quite able to do it last week, but they finally got, they made a play there in a crucial situation. So good for the Grizzly offense.
Big kick here for Nolan. still be a 2-possession game should he miss, but he's been a great kicker for Labette this season. The snap, the hold, and it was pressured from the left. Might have been tipped by Cousins. I don't know, but it's no good. 28-13 is the score. Still have to run a kickoff as there's 6 seconds left in the half, but Labette got it done. They needed to. 1 minute break on KLKC.
Hi, I'm Shelby, one of the pharmacists at Bowen Pharmacy. Not only do we keep you up to date on your COVID and flu vaccines, but we also offer pneumonia, shingles, hepatitis, meningitis, tetanus, and whooping cough vaccines. Based on the latest CDC guidelines, we can recommend the vaccines to keep you and your family healthy. Thank you for always choosing Bowen Pharmacy. We're here today and we'll be here tomorrow.
Fort Scott fields the kick with 5.5 seconds left. It's been kind of a long closing couple minutes of the first half. Labette does score, though. Jamal Jackson's 5th rushing touchdown of the season, 2nd of the night. He has 6 total touchdowns this season, 5 on the ground, 1 on the air. Fort Scott 28, Labette 13. As it looks as if Fort Scott, well, we'll see if they kneel it or not. As here's the snap, and no, they're going to run a play. Here's an end around to the right side. Getting to midfield is Cousins, and then he's brought down. So still a gain of 13 for Fort Scott before the siren sounds. But Labette County gets within 2 possessions as you hear Grizzly Nation cheering because it could have been a lot worse. But Labette County got it done on both ends to at least give them a chance going into the locker room. We're going to step aside for a 3-minute break. And when we come back, we will have our Eye Care Associates of Parsons halftime show.
With many years of combined experience, Eye Care Associates of Parsons has set the framework in providing comprehensive eye health examinations for all ages and routine vision care for families throughout the 4-state area. Our optometrists and staff provide remarkable care with state-of-the-art technology to help with diagnosis and management of eye health conditions. Give us a call or visit our website to schedule your next eye exam. Eye Care Associates of Parsons. Experience modern eye care.
V93.5 is your home for the best variety of the 80s, 90s, and today. Get your day started with the Anna and Raven Morning Show. You're the judge during couples court. Couples share their disagreement, and then you decide who's right. Think you know pop culture trivia? It could pay off, and you score the cash jackpot when you play Can't Beat Raven. Krause in the House gets you home every weekday afternoon starting at 2. Stream us anytime, anywhere at klkcradio.com.
Hi, I'm Shelby, one of the pharmacists at Bowen Pharmacy. Not only do we keep you up to date on your COVID and flu vaccines, but we also offer pneumonia, shingles, hepatitis, meningitis, tetanus, and whooping cough vaccines. Based on the latest CDC guidelines, we can recommend the vaccines to keep you and your family healthy. Thank you for always choosing Bowen Pharmacy. We're here today and we'll be here tomorrow.
Labette Community College is meeting the need for an increased demand in qualified radiographers. Our radiography students will train on the latest technology in a hospital simulation environment.
I wanted to be able to go into a career where I could help people. And if you're going to go into that field in this part of the 4-state area, LCC is the only place to come.
Tuition is nearly half the cost of universities. Scholarship and financial aid available for those who qualify. Text radiography to 620-293-6671 for more information or visit labette.edu.
Unbelievable! Sparklight is unveiling unlimited internet for just $25 a month. Get reliable 100 meg internet for just $25 a month for 12 months with unlimited data. That's unlimited internet. Call 877-469-3057 or visit sparklight.com/savings. Sparklight, a new breed in high speed.
Discover what you've been missing in Parsons, Kansas. Curious Minds Discovery Zone, a children's museum that inspires a love of learning with hands-on exhibits for all ages to imagine, create, learn, and discover. Kids enjoy looking through microscopes, building on our magnetic ball run wall, creative play in our doctor's office or grocery store, and lots more. Discover, explore, Parsons, Kansas.
Hi, I'm Shelby, one of the pharmacists at Bowen Pharmacy. Not only do we keep you up to date on your COVID and flu vaccines, but we also offer pneumonia, shingles, hepatitis, meningitis, tetanus, and whooping cough vaccines. Based on the latest CDC guidelines, we can recommend the vaccines to keep you and your family healthy. Thank you for always choosing Bowen Pharmacy. We're here today and we'll be here tomorrow.
Everybody is different. Some get injured, while others simply wear down.
As we welcome you back to the Eye Care Associates, or welcome you into the Eye Care Associates of Parsons halftime show. Jack Leake, John Kohler with you on the call. Fort Scott leads Labette County 28-13 at the halftime break. Few stats for you right out of the gate. Kendall Holtzman has thrown for 79 yards. As he had an interception called back because of a penalty, so no interceptions for Kendall. Clean slate, as both Labette County's touchdowns have come on the ground. Jamal Jackson with a 67-yard touchdown burst, as he's ran it in for 2 touchdowns and 98 yards on the ground. John, you asked for 150 rushing yards from Labette tonight, and Jamal's got 98 at the break. In fact, Kendall has ran a couple times for some nice gains. I didn't look at his stats, but I would guess maybe take out sacks, 15, 17 yards on the ground for Kendall roughly. So Labette's going to push and should get that 150-yard mark on the ground for you tonight.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good sign as they keep building momentum in the ground game. But what I've been really impressed, coming off these past couple weeks where it's really been a struggle throwing the ball, Kendall's done a nice job of getting his guys' balls on target and stuff. Now, I know we saw earlier he had one that should have been intercepted a little bit high to Kagan Bates, but it's whatever. You got yourself still in a ball game, down only 2 scores. That's all you can ask for, after going down 20-0.
Right, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to say this game was 20-0. Labette County they got a big turnover as Lawrence Holt picked up a missed pitch from Van to, it was one of their backs, Hire or Cousins, bobbled it, lost it, and Lawrence picked it up. Labette did not go on to score after that turnover. They had a big pass to Barrett Heston, who's been outstanding, and then they had to punt after that, but you kept Fort Scott out of the end zone. They were going to go score. They were inside the 10. It was 1st or 2nd and goal, and then they turned it over. So Labette County had a big break there. Credit their defense for that, but this is similar to Wellington's game last week in terms of we kept saying you got to get with
2 possessions at half. But I think in this ball game, you're going to have to bring yourself within 1 score going into the 4th quarter. So you have to come out with a really nice approach defensively in this 3rd quarter and get a couple stops, give your offense a chance to either tie it or bring it within 1 possession.
Right, that's the thing. It begins with the possession out of the locker room. That's the only thing that Labette County is probably concerned with is, okay, Fort Scott gets the ball. How do we get it back? And they don't have any more than 28 points. Possession by possession. As Lane Simmons was my player interview last week, as we did not have one this week, but we will bring it back next week with the leading tackler of this Labette County defense, Roper Whitley. He will be our player interview next week for our Tank Connection pregame show for the game at Coffeyville. But whenever I was speaking with Lane last week, I believe it was Lane, he just said that they've gelled so well. and people understand their roles. It might have been Jamal, but one of the guys I interviewed had just mentioned how what's different last year than this year is just the guys get it. They kind of understand their roles. As we started like 7 freshmen last year, and you're still starting a handful of sophomores, but they've played 8 games last season as in varsity. They kind of get it a little bit more now.
Yeah. And
so talented.
Every game you kind of, I know for me, you kind of gain something else from it, like okay, so if I go here and I do this is going to happen. You sort of figure it out eventually, and that's what we're seeing with this young sophomore group. They're still building on what they learned last year, as far as what I've seen from those 2 young safeties we've seen out there, they figured out, if we tee off on the run game, we can make some plays back there, we get down in that alley and really stuff it. We make some nice plays for our defense. It helps with momentum and stuff like that.
Right.
So all of these sophomores are adding more and more stuff to their games and making them more, effective out there.
Yeah, absolutely. As a lot of players' presence is being felt, and that hadn't really been the case the past few years. Those guys were there, their potential was there, but it's kind of starting to come to fruition a little bit. We're saying a lot of names we haven't said in the past over and over again. Bradley Lack, Cole Stevens, Matthew Jarman, and then, your leading tackler, Roper Whitley's always going to have an impact. Tayton Claiborne's an animal in a lot of different phases, and then your guys in the trenches on both sides of the ball are just outstanding. So we're saying a lot more names up here in the broadcast booth, and that is always a positive. But as we kind of transition to a different talking point here in our halftime show, brought to you by Eye Care Associates of Parsons, Fort Scott's offensive side of the ball is just misdirection. That's all it is. I say that's all it is. That can be hard to combat sometimes, but it's not. They passed it one time for a big gain and a touchdown. But other than that, it's been those end arounds, sometimes a keep for Vans. But how do you approach it and adjust, if at all, in the locker room if you're Labette County?
Yeah, the linebackers really got to start, following those pulling guards to the ball and finding a way to bring down the ball carrier, as they've run a lot of power and counter concepts, as you're talking about those misdirections. And so if you're the Grizzly defense, you have to find a way to find those gaps where they're going, and you got to plug them. You have to film. It's kind of like a sponge. You got to find a hole in the sponge, plug it, don't let any more leakage occur, because you've let up 4 scores in that first half. You got to you can't allow more than 40 in this game to have a chance. In all reality, I think you can give up 1 score.
My name is Bria, and I'm a pharmacist at Bowen Pharmacy. I'm here today to tell you about one of our patient programs, Meds to Beds. Bowen Pharmacy South is located in the medical office building at Labette Health. Our staff works closely with the doctors, nurses, and social care workers to ensure that your transition out of the hospital is an easier and more convenient experience for you and your loved ones. If you are having inpatient or outpatient surgery, we will get your medications directly from your doctor and deliver them right to your hospital bed. If you are having a baby, we will get your medications or anything else that you may need to get your family home without the hassle of making several stops along the way. Whether you're here for a few hours or a few days, we are here at Bowen Pharmacy and Bowen Pharmacy South to help get you well without any interruption in transition of care. Just ask for Meds to Beds. At Bowen Pharmacy and Bowen Pharmacy South, we are here for you today and we are here for you tomorrow.
With many years of combined experience, Eye Care Associates of Parsons has set the framework in providing comprehensive eye health examinations for all ages and routine vision care for families throughout the 4-state area. Our optometrists and staff provide remarkable care with state-of-the-art technology to help with diagnosis and management of eye health conditions. Give us a call or visit our website to schedule your next eye exam. Eye Care Associates of Parsons. Experience modern eye care.
Unbelievable! Sparklight is unveiling unlimited internet for just $25 a month. Get reliable 100 meg internet for just $25 a month for 12 months with unlimited data. That's unlimited internet. Call 877-469-3057 or visit sparklight.com/savings. Sparklight, a new breed in high speed.
A few scores from around the area to open the back half of our Eye Care Associates of Parsons halftime show here on KLKC Parsons and KLKC Sports on YouTube and Facebook Live. Wamego leads Coffeyville at the halftime break 21-14. Again, this is no particular order in where the game is being played. My source does not say. These are just the scores from both of these teams. Galena leads Baxter Springs at halftime 8-7. Low-scoring game going on between two historically good football programs. Parsons leads Riverton 13-0 at the halftime break. A couple others from nearby, if I can try to find some that will strike your interest. All these are so far away, some out in western Kansas and in other conferences that we don't really affiliate with. Chanute leads Indy at halftime just 14-0. As Independence must have a salty defense, as they've held Chanute to 14 points at halftime here tonight, and their game against Fort Scott, as this is Independence's second league game, if I'm not mistaken, they held Fort Scott to 14, as Fort Scott won that game 14-6. So the Bulldogs' defense we'll see in a couple weeks might be pretty stout there. As those are some scores just from around the area. Parsons leads, Chanute leads. A couple other games of the such. But, John, is 3 minutes and counting until the beginning of the second half. What have you been thinking about, chewing on over there? As this definitely feels like one that Labette can get back in. As Wellington, the way it went down, wasn't as hopeful. But this defense can get some stops on this offense, I think.
Yeah, you're going to have to bottle them in and hope your defensive line could put up a fight with that big front of the Tigers if you want any chance of staying in this ball game. You know, we've seen they have the explosiveness on the outside to really hurt you, but they also have the size up front to really bully you on the inside. So what I think you're going to have to do is you're going to have to bottle them up in the inside and hope your all-state defensive tackle, Chris Stevens, and nose guard Cole Stevens, if they're up to the task of stopping the run over and over and over again, it's going to be a gut check for this Grizzly defense coming out in the second half.
As there were those stretches where Fort Scott kind of had to adjust a little bit because Labette was stuffing those runs, particularly in some of those regions where Van, the quarterback, would elect to tuck it and try to weasel his way up into the trenches a bit. Didn't work so hot, as most of their success, like Pittsburgh and some of the other teams in which we have faced, they've adjusted to that too. Labette's run defense in between the hashes, pretty good. It's whenever there's some of that jet sweep motion, pitch here, toss there, and guys like Heyer and Cousins can hit that sideline and gain 7 or 8.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I said bottle them up on the inside is because we have been so stout up front, right, in all reality, in between the tackles. But when you get to the outside, the tackles, you pull a couple of them. We've struggled against the counter a little bit so far tonight. A little bit of that triple option that we've seen so far tonight. It's been a challenge, and that's all I could say, yes, Jack. It's been a challenge for this Grizzly defense.
That's absolutely what it has been. 60 seconds until the beginning of the second half. As, man, that wind, I feel like I keep talking about the wind every week. Has it been quite windy into the night the last few football games, or is it just me? But that flag is whipping down there.
Well, I don't know if the wind's picked up or not, Jack. I can check for you real quick, but as far as I know, it's a southerly 11-mile-an-hour wind, as I said before kickoff. So, I don't know. Maybe you're just now noticing it because it's gotten darker. You kind of see that flag sticking out on the south end of the football field. But if it has picked up, that's something that you got to factor in game plan-wise. and how you're going to script out the second half.
As Labette County's going to have the third quarter to work with that wind at their back, as Fort Scott will receive, putting aside any mishap on Fort Scott's special teams. Clear skies, beautiful full moon out there to the east above Fort Scott's visiting bleachers. That is about as bright as a full moon as I've seen this year. Has this turned into the Weather Channel? Why am I so obsessed with the weather right now?
I don't know, Jack.
I don't know.
The Weather Channel is actually pretty good. They got some good shows on there.
They really do. Yeah, they really do.
It's not just, it's sunny and 75 here today, 95 in Blistering Hot in Glendale, Arizona. They got some good programs on there. Just like we got a good program here on KLKC with some Grizzly football.
That's right, as they're set to kick it off. John with a poetic transition. Hopefully it brings some good fortune. Here's a kick. It might topple out of bounds, and then it stays in. And it's dove upon. Let me try again. By Cousins. As, man, if that would have taken an awkward bounce off his chest plate there near the 34, Labette would have been setting up shop with some momentum.
Wow, that was an awkward-looking kick. I don't know if it was a onside or a squib. It kind of went on its side and spun forward for about 15 yards before it was fallen upon by the Tiger returner. So here we go, Jack. Here's our challenge. Can this Grizzly come out and get a stop, a huge stop, and maybe even a turnover to get some momentum back on their side?
Van under center. Snap, keeps it, tucks, brought down by the heels and into a pile of red jersey. Short gain of 3, 2nd and 7 for Fort Scott. Chris Stevens in there with Hudson Baker as well. Alongside both of those guys on the effort was Michael Reed.
There's a good start to it, only allowing 3 yards there on the first carry. Giving yourself a chance to make it to that third down, Jack. We haven't been able to do that too much so far tonight, but make it to third down.
Here's the snap, end around left side, well read by Roper Whitley, and he brings him down with a little bit of help from his friends. Matthew Jarman, the Megalodon, comes in and helps clean up. Roper Whitley wrapping up the ball carrier there. So now third down and a long 4 as Grizzly Nation hopefully eggs on this defense as it is a big down. Kagan Bates is on the field at safety for Labette County. Hurt his wrist earlier after a big catch.
Terrific play by Roper there to get off that block and stop Cousins from doing any more damage.
3rd and 5, first drive of the second half. Under center Vance. Roper Whitley, Matthew Jarman the linebackers. Here's the snap. Vance keeps it. He's going to get the first. Gain of about 7, maybe a short 8. Tayton Claiborne on the tackle on the quarterback.
Well, they did what we asked, Jack. They got themselves a third down. Just unfortunate they weren't able to get a stop there, but can they do it again? That's the question. Can they keep forcing these third downs? And they're eventually going to get one. They're going to get one, and that's all that matters.
Correct. Just give yourself opportunity, that being a third down. Yeah, you said that perfectly. Sooner or later, one will fall your way. 10:30, third quarter. Fort Scott 28, Labette 13. Vance with the snap, pitch out left side. Kind of a foot race to get to the corner, and Heyer's going to win the race, get the first and more. Gain of 16. That pitch out to particularly the left side for Heyer has been lethal for Labette County's defense.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with the backers in the secondary getting off the blocks to get there for the toss. That's the secondary. That's their key. The secondary, their key on that is the toss, right? The linebackers take quarterback, ends take dive. So Nolan and Lawrence are going to have to do a better job of getting off the blocks.
Vance keeps it after faking the give up the middle to the fullback. Follows his blockers ahead. Gain of 8 for Fort Scott. Some excessive whistles as the White Hat wants to stop play. No flags, no timeout signal then. Referees saw something they did not like. Coach Price is out kind of on the field at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on out there, as if he's wanting to go out there and suit up for one more play or what's happening down there. Maybe you want an explanation from one of the officials or something. More likely he's just yelling at his guys to get lined up or something. among those regards.
Second down and 4, 9:43. In motion yet again is Higher. Snap, give up the middle, and this time driven backwards is the ball carrier for Fort Scott near the first down line. It might be 3rd and inches. That's Allison's first carry in some time.
They're going to move the chains. I thought we gave ourselves a shot to have a chance. Like you said, got to give yourself a chance to have a, to make a play. It's all you can ask for if you're a defense. Haven't allowed too many explosive plays so far. I know we had one off the left edge just a little bit ago, but tightening down a little bit. These plays that we saw in the first half, they usually would have been big hitters, so great adjustment by this defense.
Here's a give up the middle, and running into a wall is Colton Rogers. He got nowhere.
That's not a wall. That's an Alaskan bullworm, if anyone gets that reference. And Roper Whitley, as he was a man on a mission. As soon as he touched the ball, Roper was in there driving him back.
What is an Alaskan bullworm?
It's on a pretty popular TV show, If anyone got that reference, hats off to you.
All right, I did not. Second down and 10. As here's the snap from Vans to the back, out into the secondary. Cousins threatening to score, getting deep inside the 5-yard line, and they're going to mark him down about the 2.
And that's a killer, Jack. What we said, one of the keys, the lack of the, you got to stop the explosive plays from ever occurring. You got one right off the right edge there. And this drive's pretty much done for the Grizzlies unless they come up with a turnover or something. So, yeah, it'll be Vaughn under center here. Cousins out to his left, motion behind.
8 minutes to go in the third quarter as they snap it. And, he did end up keeping it as Vans kept it, tried to go forward, didn't get there. Second and goal from the 1.
You're stuffing them on, first down. You got to keep doing it, though. As we saw earlier, we got a great goal line stop earlier with that fumble.
Yeah.
Force them to pitch it to the outside. That's where we got the turnover last time. Had some against Pittsburgh, the same thing. Got to, keep giving yourself a shot here by stopping the run on the inside.
And getting it in the end zone this time is Colton Rogers. Didn't see a lot of carries, if any, in that first half. And gets a couple on this drive, and one results in 6 as Labette County had an opportunity earlier to hold him on a third down. But, just like that, now you're back down 3 possessions, and Fort Scott just took 4.5 minutes away from you as there's 7.5 remaining in the third quarter with Vans on to kick. Or Van, pardon me, not Vans. As here's the snap, hold kick, a good one is right through the uprights. As that'll stretch it. Fort Scott 35, Labette 13. Grizzly offense will trot back on here in 1 minute. This is Grizzly football.
Everybody is different. Some get injured, while others simply wear down. Whether it's on the court, on the field, or at the gym, Labette Health's orthopedic and sports medicine team has the training and skill to repair, restore, and renew. We share the same goal, and together we'll write your comeback story. For more information about Southeast Kansas' leading orthopedic and sports medicine team, go to labettehealth.com.
Labette County fields another low line drive of a kick. It hits Bradley Black in between the 1 and the 7. And he'll go down about the 33 again. First and 10 Grizzlies from there, moving right to left here. Wind at their back.
Yeah, Jack, you can't allow another score from this Tiger, offense. So if you're this Grizzly, unit, you're going to have to keep scoring, With 24 unanswered week 1, you're going to have to do something similar here as you find yourself down 3 scores.
Here goes Jamal, cutting it inside, staying on his feet across the 35 to the 36. Gain of a few for the back.
Not a bad start there, but like we said, you got to find the ways to put the ball in the end zone, and there can only take you so far as we sit up here and try to think about the different scenarios for the Grizzlies to come out of here with a win tonight.
As they found great success whenever they played in that hurry-up, 2-minute offense. And, sometimes defenses will play a little bit softer in that 2-minute offense, and Fort Scott definitely did, so it might be harder to do, but see if Labette plays a little bit faster here. Here's Lawrence Holt around the right side off the sweep. Has nowhere to go. Loss of 1. 3rd and 9 for Labette County approaching. The first true jet sweep we've seen handed off tonight, John.
Yeah, and it didn't really turn out how we expected it to. You wonder if that's something that was kind of scripted out of the game plan throughout the week as they've watched more and more film on this Tiger defense and found out teams don't really run that very effectively against them. But they figured they could have probably provided a spark here in the second half.
Kagan Bates, Lawrence Holt, and Xavier Phillips on the left side of the field. As Holtzman throws it, and it hits the dirt incomplete at the 45, as Cal Cousins was looking at his first interception of the night. Had one earlier that was called back, and on comes the punt unit one more time.
Yeah, the quick 3-and-out for this Grizzly offense, just unfortunate. He had his man, Kagan Bates, wide open, overshot him. I don't know if he was targeting the outside guy or whatever. Both ran hitches, I believe, on the outside, and just miscues over and over again with this offensive unit.
35-13 Fort Scott. 6:07 to go, third quarter. Barrett Heston's been busy with his right foot. Here's another nice one. High kick. Lands at the 42 and takes a nice Grizzly bounce to the 31, and that's where it will come to a halt. 1st and 10 Fort Scott at their own 31. Few sponsors we would like to address for making our job possible. Labette Community College, Forbes Hoffman Funeral Homes, Clemens Insurance Agency, Labette Health, Woodworth Enterprises, Carson Wall Funeral Homes, Commercial Bank, and Eye Care Associates of Parsons. I'll get to the back half of those wonderful sponsors here in a moment, but for now, Fort Scott getting set to try to go down and score on back-to-back possessions here in quarter number 3. Here's the snap. First pass this quarter for Van. A lot of time, now pressured from behind and sacked. He's dumped by Bradley Black, his second sack of the game.
Oh.
They're going to give him a yard?
Scratch that. Bradley still only has 1 sack. He's going to have more opportunities, though, to probably get another one. So, good pursuit, though, for that Grizzly. Great coverage down the field. That would have been a truly great coverage sack there, as there's nothing open down the field for Vaughn to look to.
2nd down and 9, 5.5 minutes, third quarter. Here's a bit of an option as keeping it and coming this direction is Van. Nice tackle by Kagan Bates. Nice to see the sophomore healthy again. 3rd down and 5. Here's another opportunity for Labette County's defense to potentially get off of the field.
Well, here you go, Bradley. Here's another opportunity for you. 3rd down. Yeah, 50-50 on where we're not going to pass it probably. I expect them to come out with some kind of counter or maybe a toss to the outside, either Cousins or higher.
3rd and a long 4. Give up the middle. They just go right in the teeth of the Grizzly D, and they chomp down on him. Gain of maybe 1. They'll give him 1. It's Allison on the carry, and the Labette County defense can come off of the field, I guess I should say, after the punt.
Yeah, guess who made that play, Jack? Bradley Black. He's had a very good game so far tonight, Jack. I've been really impressed with how much he's improved so far over the season.
4th and 4, back deep for Holt. Cleats buried in the soil at the 25. 35-13 Fort Scott. Labette needed to get the ball back to counter the massive deficit. Line drive kick. Fort Scott Tiger already back there with Lawrence, giving him no option but to just let it roll out, and it does so near the 28. A few other sponsors are Labette Bank, Bartlett Co-op, Labette Center for Mental Health Services, Community National Bank, Tank Connection, Wood Insurance Center, Unified School District, USD 506, the Corner Store of Altamont, and Olson's Ace Hardware. Invite you to stay tuned at the conclusion of tonight's contest for the Bowen Pharmacy post-game show.
Got to go get one here, Jack. Whether it's methodical drive or something, you have to find a way to put the ball in the end zone.
Here's a snap. Pitch out to Jamal. Tries to shed a tackler. Does so. Leans forward. Gain of a healthy 5. 2nd and 5 coming up for the men in red.
Yeah, nice block out there on the edge by number 58 for the Grizzlies. Let me get a number. I should know this number right off the top of my head, though. I apologize to you folks. Got to get my stuff together. As there isn't a 58 in the roster, so you wonder if there's a jersey switch or something of that sort. So whoever number 58 is, great job out there.
3:30, third quarter. Bates and Phillips out to the left side. Bates just one step right behind Phillips. Here's a snap. It's a run. Jamal bouncing it around to the edge and can't get anywhere. Maybe a gain of 1 or 2. So 3rd down and 3 for Labette County. Coming up is Jamal saw daylight, but it was swallowed up quickly by the Fort Scott defensive front.
Yeah, and that's what the Tigers have done a nice job of so far tonight. We get a little bit of a crease, and they're there quickly hoping to bottle up Jamal, as he's been a true bright spot for this Grizzly offense so far tonight with those 2 touchdowns.
2:50 third quarter. Holtzman with Jackson behind him. Fort Scott comes quickly this time, and a quick pass on top of that to Holt falls incomplete at the 40 as he was wide open, as just the pass was just kind of a step off to the left and Holt couldn't come back to get it.
Yeah, Kendall's not looked sharp so far tonight, and based off of last season, that's not something we were hoping to say at all this year, as he had a great year last year, had a great week 1, but he's kind of been finding himself, slipping a little bit with the accuracy and the ball placement as the seasons went on. You wonder if it's a mechanics issue or is he just getting beat up or something, but it's not been great for the Grizzlies.
Illegal procedure on Labette County as they were lined up to maybe try to go for it on 4th, but maybe they were just trying to get Fort Scott to jump off sides. Yes. And they failed to do so with a penalty coming in and disrupting that tactic. So that'll back them up an extra 5, 4th down and 9. They're going to punt it away with Barrett Heston again.
Yeah, you got to hope for a quick 3 and out or a turnover. If you let him string together a couple first downs and really start to work on that clock, which I fully expect Bo Graham's team to do, you're gonna find yourself in a tough hole, where when you do get the ball back, you're probably gonna have to score and then get a couple onside kicks.
Fielded by Cousins at midfield, goes around the left side across the 45 and is shoved out of bounds firmly by Nolan Harity. And on comes Fort Scott's offense, and they are well in Grizzly territory this time at the 40, as they scored on their first drive that took 4.5 minutes. Then the Grizzly offense got on the field and off the field in under 2 minutes. Then they got a stop, and now we're back here after a punt from Labette. Fort Scott with possession number 3 of quarter number 3. Van under center in motion behind him, Higher. He keeps it up the middle, still going. Gain of 9 for the quarterback, 2nd down and 1.
Yeah, and I think there's got to be a fundamental approach to how you're tackling it. There's got to be a shift. I think the first guy's going to have to hold him up, and the rest of them are going to have to come in and try to rip that ball out, as they're down 3 possessions here, 35-13. There's only 2 minutes left in the third quarter, so you're finding yourself in a more desperate situation.
Another snap and keep from the quarterback, and Roper Whitley is there again to drag down the quarterback. No first down. 3rd down and 1 for Fort Scott. Roper Whitley leads the team in tackles and is just outstanding.
Yep, they're giving themselves a chance to have a game here. They get off the field or this fourth. Correction, is it 3rd down or 4th down, Jack?
It's 3rd down and 1.
Okay, I'm a little bit behind, but if they get a stop here, 4th down, Bill Graham has to make a decision whether to pin this deep or go for it and keep his offense out there.
Minute 20, 3rd quarter. Hopefully we put him in that position. The snap. And he kept it again and is met by Roper, but it looks like he's going to get it. They might measure this. As it's 4th and inches, we'll see if Coach Graham argues for a measure, but I see no such efforts being made. 4th and inches for Fort Scott. Roper Whitley gets in the backfield so quickly for Labette. 60 seconds, 3rd quarter. They need it badly, down 3 scores. The snap, quarterback sneak, and he got it. Trying to pull him backwards is Matthew Jarman, and did so, but not before forward progress. Got Van the first down, and we have some laundry as Cousins is convinced it's on Labette County.
The way the official's looking out there, it's going to be on the Grizzlies, as I believe maybe someone said something or something along those lines. As
it is on Labette County, unsportsmanlike conduct. We've racked up a number of those in the past few weeks, it feels like, John. As we're watching our live stream here,
as I don't want to assume who is on, but I got a good feeling just based on the body reactions and all that. Just, momentary lapse of, some disappointed mental toughness, which is something you can't say has been a common thing for this Grizzly unit.
As that will progress the ball quite deep into Grizzly territory now, pasted at the 14 right hash. Fort Scott working north to south into a wind that's holding its own. 55 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. Fort Scott 35, Labette County 13. Here's the snap, pitch out. It's been successful. Left side higher, cuts it in, gets to the goal line, and he's down by about a yard. They're about the farthest point away from us that they could be, on the southeast corner of the field. So it'll be on the left hash, 1st and goal from the 1 for Fort Scott.
And this is going to be a killer. I think this one's going to probably do you in if you're the Grizzlies, if they punch this one in. So you really got to punch this ball out if you get a chance, or hope you can stop him 4 straight times.
13 seconds on the play clock, 27 seconds on the game clock, so Fort Scott has to run a play. They're going to run a quarterback sneak as Van was hit right off the jump. Second effort gets him in, though. Touchdown, Fort Scott. 41-13 the score. Fort Scott, I'm sure, will kick the extra point with Van, the quarterback who just ran it in.
As this has not been the night the Grizzlies were hoping for, homecoming and everything else that's gone along with it. As it just seems it's just been a blow after blow delivered from this Tiger offense. As
very good team, more so than I even personally gave them credit for, admittedly. They're a good 2-2 team coming into tonight, as the extra point is good from Van. As their losses, they were close with Pittsburgh and almost beat Paola on the road. This is a good Fort Scott squad. They lead Labette 42-13, 20 seconds, 3rd quarter. Will return in 1 minute. This is Grizzly football.
My name is Bria, and I'm a pharmacist at Bowen Pharmacy. I'm here today to tell you about one of our patient programs, Meds to Beds. Bowen Pharmacy South is located in the medical office building at Labette Health. Our staff works closely with the doctors, nurses, and social care workers to ensure that your transition out of the hospital is an easier and more convenient experience for you and your loved ones. If you are having inpatient or outpatient surgery, we will get your medications directly from your doctor and deliver them right to your hospital bed. If you are having a baby, we will get your medications or anything else that you may need to get your family home without the hassle of making several stops along the way. Whether you're here for a few hours or a few days, we are here at Bowen Pharmacy and Bowen Pharmacy South to help get you well without any interruption in transition of care. Just ask for Meds to Beds. At Bowen Pharmacy and Bowen Pharmacy South, we are here for you today and we are here for you tomorrow.
Beat for the Grizzlies, number 1.
42-13, Fort Scott leads the Grizzlies on homecoming in Lucas Field. Again, if you are just joining us or perhaps would like a reminder, homecoming queen and king, Hudson Baker and Alice Carnahan, as the return is bobbled and picked up by Labette County, about the same spot it's been all night long, as it was fielded at the end of the play by Mason Hoppus, 37-yard line. 36 for Labette County, they say. 17 seconds to go in the third quarter. So Fort Scott scoring right before the end of the third just kind of drags it out that much longer. The siren will sound here in just a few seconds.
As Hops, that's a name we've seen on that offensive line earlier in the year. I think that's a brother or something of that sort, though.
Holtzman takes the snap, well protected, gunslings left side, 50-50 with Lawrence Holt and the defender Ty Marbury, and they're going to say it's picked off, and it is indeed. Marbury just kind of had better position than Lawrence did, and Fort Scott's going to get it right back. 1st and 10 at their own 41, still 9 seconds to go in the third quarter. One play, one turnover on that possession for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I guess that one's going to be an interception. There's kind of a fight for it, and he just kind of ripped it out of Lawrence's hands. It came out on top, and that's what the officials went with there.
It was not a bad read or decision at all by Kendall. Lawrence was there. 1st and 10, snap, give up the middle, nowhere to go. For Fort Scott up the middle on the effort was Colton Rogers.
Number 64, Michael Reed, made a nice play there. Hope will get himself some momentum as this game progresses. Continue making more plays.
That's the end of the third quarter from Altamont. We'll switch ends, and Fort Scott will get to move right to left. Labette County's defense has been busy. We'll be back in 1 minute on KLKC.
At Labette Community College, we're passionate about medicine and compassionate about people. Our highly trained instructors provide innovative career-specific education in the field of diagnostic medical sonography. Do you already have an associate or bachelor's degree in healthcare? Earn an additional certification in sonography. LCC offers a 12-month completely online program with a clinical component. In as little as 1 year, specialize in OB, abdomen, or vascular. For more information, text pound SONO to 620-293-6671 today. Apply online at labette.edu.
Jasper Allison with a short carry for Fort Scott during the closing seconds of our advertisements here on the station. That brings up 3rd down and 7 for Fort Scott. Again, moving right to left with the ball on the right hash. Here's a pitch out to the left side. They've really hurt Labette there, but not this time, as Tayton Claiborne is in there on the tackle with Kagan Bates. So 4th down and 1, maybe 1.5 for the Tigers.
Yep, you're going to have to hope for a stop here to give yourself a chance in this ball game, as it's looking pretty grim right now, Jack. Down 4 scores, start of the 4th quarter. This could be, if we get a stop here, this could be a start of a comeback, though, hopefully.
Fort Scott taking their time, closing seconds of the play clock, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, and that's a false start on Jaden Garcia. So the Tigers' plans might have been ruined there, as I think they were going to go for it there and just continue to try to bleed clock and drive, and that puts them on the right side of the 50, back to the 45 of their own. 4th down and 6. We'll see how bad Coach Graham wants a first down.
Yeah, I think they're just going to stay out there and go for it, and why not? They've been so successful running the ball, getting these chunk plays. The Grizzlies have also done a nice job of stopping some of them, so it's been kind of a back-and-forth action all night.
4th and 6, pitch out to the right. Cousins tries to get the edge, cuts it in, gets the first down across the Grizzly 45 to the 43, and that's where he'll be stopped, and they're going to say he was out of bounds. 10:29 is where the clock stops.
Yep, and you figured if you're Coach Graham, where can we hurt him the most? On that edge out there is where they've had a lot of success so far tonight, so he dialed up a toss out there to Cousins, who's been their best runner by far so far tonight. So, and that's not a shock to other Tiger runners. It's just saying, from what we've seen, he's been the most effective.
Yeah, him and Chase Heyer, both smaller guys, so fast hitting those edges quite well. Here's a change of pace, give up the middle, and it's hit hard. That's going to be Rogers on the carry, gain of just about 1.5, 2nd down and long for Fort Scott.
Yeah, and they're just going to hope they can kind of just chunk away at this Grizzly defense and milk some clock. As realistically, if they keep moving the ball how they are, they can milk off another 4 or 5 minutes.
18 seconds till they have to run another play, and we're at the 9.5-minute mark, just 2nd down for the Tigers. So, yeah, certainly, especially if Labette can't get a stop, which we definitely hope they do, they could take a lot of time off here. Heyer in motion. They go another direction this time. It's a keep from Van, and I kind of lost him in some traffic there, but he squirts out near the 36 on the right side of the right hash. So 3rd down and 3 for the Tigers now. 9-minute mark has been surpassed.
Yeah, with that, I think your chances of coming back in this affair are pretty much done, Jack, and you're kind of wondering now if we're going to see some Aaron Wyrick in that quarterback tonight, let Kendall Hill up a little bit as he's taken a couple blows tonight. Start to get some younger guys into the ball game.
We'll certainly see. We'll hope it begins with a stop. 3rd and 3. Taking a lot of time off are the Tigers. They go up the right-hand side, falling forward for the first down. Jasper Allison, as they have 5 different ball carriers, including their quarterback, without question, is one of them. Heyer, Cousins, Van, Rogers, and Allison. 5 backs that are all near the same tier as each other. Great runners. And a good offensive line with a great centerpiece, Luke Harris.
And that's a great thing to have an offense, just as much as, it's important to have a good runner. If you have multiple, you keep their legs fresh and you get into these 4th quarters with that tired defense. That's where they make their money at, gashing the defense over and over again.
1st and 10. End around left side, Heyer hits the edge across the 30, cuts it inside a gap. Impressive cut there from Chase Heyer. Hit from behind inside the 5. He might have stepped out as there is a flag back near the 30. Nice sportsmanship shown there by Barrett Heston, helping Dub Chipman up to his feet near where the flag is down. So maybe a block in the back is 2 flags down, actually. As that was a great cut in the field by Chase Heyer. As it is a hold on Fort Scott, so negate the run by Heyer.
Yeah, and that one was just a toss out to Heyer, and he just did the rest from there. Got to that edge, found a seam, and cut up. And he made a really nice, smart football play there by not going out of bounds and cutting back in, try to keep the clock moving.
That will back the ball up to their own 42. 7:49. As that penalty helps Labette in essence, I guess, on paper, but it will definitely extend how long Fort Scott has the ball by a substantial amount of time. As it's just 1st and 20 at their own 42. Left hash moving right to left. Fake up the middle, they go to the right side. Cousins, bit of misdirection. He might take it to the house, and Cousins is going to, as Nolan Harity hung with him. Great effort from Nolan. You're down 4 scores. Cousins scored anyways, but that just shows the heart these guys have as Nolan kept after him and even brought him down, but not before falling into the end zone. That makes it 48-13 Fort Scott, as I'm not sure the clock started on that play. Maybe it did, but there's still 7:39 up there. I can't remember if I said 39 or 49 last. But regardless, Fort Scott leads by a significant margin here as Van is on to kick. Right hash is where the ball's at on the 10-yard line. Snap, hold by Allison, and the kick is good by Van. 49-13 Fort Scott. Not looking good for Labette County here in week number 5. We'll be back in 1 minute. This is Grizzly football.
Everybody is different. Some get injured, while others simply wear down. Whether it's on the court, on the field, or at the gym, Labette Health's orthopedic and sports medicine team has the training and skill to repair, restore, and renew. We share the same goal, and together we'll write your comeback story. For more information about Southeast Kansas' leading orthopedic and sports medicine team, go to labettehealth.com.
Unbelievable! Sparklight is unveiling unlimited internet for just $25 a month. Get reliable 100 meg internet for just $25 a month for 12 months with unlimited data. That's unlimited internet. Call 877-469-3057 or visit sparklight.com/savings. Sparklight, a new breed in high speed.
Van has been busy off of the tee tonight. Fort Scott 7 touchdowns. And Van kicks it off. Squibs across the 30, caught at the 20 by Lawrence Holt. Holds it under his right arm. Across the 35, turns up the edge, 45, 50, and into Tiger territory. I don't see any flags. Nice return by Lawrence Holt.
Yeah, great job, great vision on the return there. Found a crease, took it, got to the outside. Shut off some of the athleticism we know he has, Jack. As he had a nice deep shot from Kendall Holtzman last week, so another weapon to look forward to maybe having a breakout game at some point this year.
7:15 to go in the game. 49-13, as I got word it'll be a running clock. That's what I was just told. I'm not sure all the rules on running clocks and different things, but doesn't matter. We'll hope Labette County can go score here. Here's a QB draw, and Holtzman runs into a sticky trap as right as he tucked it to run up the gut. He was met immediately in the backfield.
Number 52, I don't have the...
Yeah, we don't have a... Well, Wesley Cox, actually, we do. Wesley Cox, a 6'3 junior defensive lineman for Fort Scott. As he wears 32 and 52, he's kind of a switch tight end and defensive lineman. As right when Kendall went to tuck and run, he pretty much ran right into the arms of Cox. Here's a second down and long play out to Lawrence. Similar play as to one of the opening elections by Coach Price. Little quick out to the right side results in about 6 yards.
Yeah, another screen pass, and I incorrectly said the point guard last time was Lucas Hayward. In reality, it was John Broadwell. He got out there on the edge and threw a nice block. As the folks on the live stream kind of scroll back and see what I'm talking about there, but So some new wrinkles in this offense, as I've never seen that run from this Grizzly team so far.
Labette County just looking to score here in garbage time. Here's a quick out to Kagan Bates. Nice to see him healthy. Catches it far side near the Fort Scott sideline. Gets near the first down line, but a couple yards shy. 4th down and short for Labette County.
Yep, same play to the other side. Michael Reed, the other tackle, got out there, was going to throw a block. Kagan just took the ball to the outside, made a nice play to stop the clock.
So I guess it's not running clock. 6:15 is where it stopped. Labette moving left to right, balls on the left hash. They're in Tiger territory. Here's a snap on 4th and short. They fling it, and it's caught by Barrett Heston in traffic. First down, Grizzlies gain of 8 near the Tiger 30. Man, is he kind of, him and Xavier, it's kind of like a 60-40 ball, not 50-50 with those two. Barrett Heston has entered that category.
Yeah, Beef, he's really come along here as he's a physical receiver. I mean, he's going to get in there and he's going to go make a play on the ball regardless if he can make one or not. As you saw there, it paid off.
That moves the ball to the right hash. Here's the snap, give to Jamal, gets by the initial surge and rides the right hash down for a gain of about 8. As he hasn't been as active as Labette County's playing some catch-up. Offense hasn't been on the field a lot, so Jamal hasn't got the touches in the second half as he did in the first, but he rushed for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half of play tonight.
Yeah, and that's a name, if you want a shot to get back in this thing, which you're probably not at this point, but get Jamal a couple more touches, see what you can do from there.
Here's the snap to Holtzman. Well-protected pocket, steps up, fires, and through the hands of both Lawrence Holt and the cornerback, Brody Gomez. As both Gomez and Holt kind of had a chance to catch that one there. Across the middle, it would have been in for a touchdown had Holt come down with it.
Yeah, not much is really going on outside of that throw to Barrett and those couple screens as far as the passing game is concerned, as really bottled up down the field on that play by that Tiger secondary, who's played pretty good so far.
Yeah, they have really nice corners. Fort Scott is a well-disciplined team, highly talented squad as well. 3rd and short, here's a draw, give to Jamal. Up the middle, enough for a first down, gain of 5 for Jackson, 4:30 mark in the game. Move the change, the clock will stop momentarily. Fort Scott 49, Labette 13 is the score.
I think that may be our best running play, that draw.
Yeah.
I mean, Jamal is so nice, just so nice at running that play as far as his explosiveness. You get all those outside edge rushers to suck up.
Tough pitch to Jamal, had to reach out to catch it along the right side, as I'm glad he caught it, as it would have been a fumble, as it was a run pitch to the right, tracked down and out of bounds for a gain of 0. 2nd down and 10. They'll say he stayed in, and the clock will move.
No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10 for the
Yeah, you got 4 minutes left and counting. So this is probably your last drive here. If the Tigers get the ball back, they'll just run her out.
Another give to Jamal, lowers his head, pinballs as Lane Simmons, the center for Labette County, kind of grabbed Jamal, and they moved forward together.
Yeah, a little bush push there, or as it's called in the NFL now, the tush push. Not quite the quarterback sneak there, but the lineman helping the ball carrier move forward, which
there's some debate.
I believe it's illegal at
Yeah,
this
there's
level.
some debate, yes.
So we got away with one there.
3:15 to go in the contest. Neither coach has burned a timeout in the second half. Nolan Nash solo left side. They're looking to him toward the left pylon and over his head out of bounds. Nolan's had a couple of those targets in this similar region of the field in the end zone, and all of them have just been out of reach for Nash.
Yeah, just off page together. Only at those 2 weeks or whatever, Nolan was out. It's affected their chemistry a little bit. Week 1, it was there. That back shoulder fade down here in the red zone was open. Or you could say connection was connecting in that
right.
Week 1.
Clock stops at 3:01, 4th down and 6 for the Grizzlies on the Fort Scott 15. 2 receivers left, 2 to the right. Snap, direct drop back. Nice blitz pick up by Jamal. Flips it left side. Ooh! As Kagan Bates is sandwiched by 2 Fort Scott Tigers as all 3 players were collapsing on the pigskin, and they hit at a T as Kagan Bates laid down for a moment, assessed his state of being, and now gets up as Coach Price jogs out there to talk with him, and he's coming off the field. Appears to be all right, perhaps a bit shaken up. Kagan Bates took a clock there.
Yeah, he took a shot right to the helmet, and that one's going to have to be a targeting call. I don't see how it's not.
There was a penalty, yeah.
That's going to have to be their call there. I don't think they call anything else. As if you're watching it live, you know what we're talking about. He took a direct blow to the head, and you just hope everything's okay there. You know, we've seen, concussions. They've been growing over the years as we learn more and more about them, and you hope everything's okay with Kagan.
As he is coming off the field now, assisted by his head coach. Gets a nice hand from Grizzly Nation. That's one of the toughest kids I know and one of the toughest kids you'll ever meet in your life. Kagan Bates hurt his wrist earlier, battles on the hardwood in the winter for basketball. So tough, not easily intimidated. So it's nice to see him get off the field. We hope that Kagan is all right, as it'll be targeting or unsportsmanlike, unnecessary roughness, something on Fort Scott, as they haven't quite officially stepped it off yet or granted them the first down, but it is coming momentarily. Again, invite you to stay tuned for the Bowen Pharmacy post-game show here at the end of the contest. See if Labette County can punch it in again, and it is 1st and goal from inside the 10.
Yeah, they didn't give a motion as to what the call was, but I believe it is targeting as 44 trotted off the field. I don't think he was the defensive back out there, but I think it's an automatic ejection at this level too. Targeting, I think that's a 1 and gone.
Here's the snap, left side, going for the
Good
end
catch.
zone, reaching back and losing it. Ball squirted up in the air after the contact was made. Phillips kind of had it, looked like it stuck to his gloves like glue, and then after the corner kind of poked at it, squirted straight up in the air and out of bounds.
And the flag came flying in at the end. So, yeah, there was. I don't know if they picked it up or not. So it should have another 1st and 2.
Yeah, pass interference on the Tigers. Some of these penalties starting to mount a little bit in the closing moments of the Week 5 homecoming game for the Grizzlies as they trail big at home to Fort Scott. 2.5 minutes, clock runs. We'll see if they give Jamal his 3rd touchdown of the night here in a moment. Here's the snap. They do go to Jamal. Sheds one shoelace tackle, pushing forward with a little bit of help from his offensive line, and it's blown dead real close to that white stripe. That is the goal line.
I hate that one. That's what you call a maul in rugby there. You get both sides, you kind of clash, and you see which one's going to drive forward or back and whatnot. Wonder, yeah, they're a couple yards short, so it wouldn't have really mattered too much.
Here is the snap. They go to Jamal again. Cuts it inside and finds the end zone. Jamal Jackson's 7th touchdown of the season and his 6th on the ground. That is 3 rushing touchdowns for Jamal Jackson in this game alone. Big-time season for the breakout sophomore.
Yeah, that O-line and him have done a nice job of really establishing a great ground game for this Grizzly offense. So I hope we put everything together going forward.
As Labette County will bring on Nolan Nash.
As the clock is running now, Jack. Did see that? I think it's within 5 minutes, I believe.
Gotcha. Minute 10 and counting, 49-19. Nash on for the extra. Nice boot there. Nash got all through that one. 49-20 the score. Grizzly offense gets well-deserved round of applause from their fans here below us. The band will take us into another 1-minute break here on KLKC Parsons.
Thank you to our sponsors.
Discover what you've been missing in Parsons, Kansas. Curious Minds Discovery Zone, a children's museum that inspires a love of learning, with hands-on exhibits for all ages to imagine, create, learn, and discover. Kids enjoy looking through microscopes, building on our magnetic ball run wall, creative play in our doctor's office or grocery store, and lots more. Discover, explore, Parsons, Kansas.
As that does take us to the end of the ball game, as the clock did just keep going. So we'll go ahead and just bounce right into the Bowen Pharmacy post-game show. Jack Leake, John Kohler with you on the headsets for tonight's broadcast. As usual, Labette County falls in their homecoming home game to Fort Scott 49-20. As John, it feels so similar to a bunch of games in which we've seen over the last 2 years. It kind of feels like a carrot on a stick, where it's like we think we have a chance, and then at the end it's like, did we really? I don't want to start thwarting off into the darkness of negativity at all. These kids work so hard and do a great job, so I don't want to get into that realm at all. But that's what it feels like. They show capability, they are capable, and then it just doesn't pan out. What's missing? Does anything need to be added in your eyes, John? Not from a coaching staff standpoint. I guess let me rephrase that. I'm not talking about that. Let me rephrase that. But what keeps this cycle going of just those games that are 2 possessions at half and then they break open? That's what I want to ask.
It's the defense. I mean, that's the only thing you can really truly look at. I mean, the offense, it is what it is. It's not been great. It's not been bad. It's been average. You can win with an average offense, but you can't win with a bad defense. It's just not going to happen, and that's what we're finding out. You know, last year, a bit leaky back there too. This year, same thing. And it's been those edges. It really has been those edges, so I'm not going to blame any one player or anything like that.
No.
But I feel like the back end's got to be a little bit more physical with getting off blocks and stuff like that to stop those tosses. Those ends have to be better pursuing the ball. It's a whole unit out there. They have to get better together. So it's not just one group that's just been bad. So we've been gashed up the middle many times so far this year. We've been thrown on. It's just a whole group has to come together and figure out we have to stand up. We have to find a way to be good.
Yeah, as I was speaking with Coach Price before the game, and he said something similar to what you said from the standpoint of we've had games, against Circle, things went great in a lot of phases. And then there are some games since then that have gone one game special teams is good, and the other 2 offense, defense, not so much. Then the next game, the offense is good, defense, special teams, not so much. Then the next game, defense is good, offense, special teams, not so much. And I totally understand that. There's nothing more these coaches can do, nothing more these players can do. It just has to kind of click that night. It's fun watching them battle. Really feel privileged to be up here and watch these kids because all summer long, I don't want it to get overlooked. These kids have a summer job, and it's football. Playing football is their summer job, and they work so hard. And then to see them get to express that and provide for this community is so much fun to watch throughout the years that I've been doing this. But Labette County does fall 49-20. We didn't get stats from our stat man, Griffin Eaton, here this evening. But Jamal, man, 3 rushing touchdowns on the ground. Kendall will click. Kendall has shown for a year and even some games this year what he can do. Kendall will click. It's been fun to see Jamal break into a new realm, though.
Yeah, and he's definitely hit that over that 150-yard mark we set for him tonight. You know, that goal of 150 yards rushing. I mean, they did that, but it just wasn't enough to keep him in the game. I mean, I don't know what else you say. Jamal's been the best player on this team by far these past couple weeks, and truly this season. And I know we came into this year thinking, oh, this is kind of close. This is Jamal Jackson's team going forward. He's your best player. He has to start getting the football more, and that means your defense will have to play better, so you don't get down a lot and where you have to throw the ball a lot. But if you keep the ball in Jamal Jackson's hands, good things are going to happen. As we found out today, I mean, 3 touchdowns, 67-yard scamper. I mean, he's really your best player. As there's something taking place on the field, Jack. I don't know if you want to touch on this.
Yeah. So I believe it's FCA. I know Emery Baker, Hudson Baker's sister, our Homecoming King's sister, Emery Baker, is leading, I think it's through FCA, a prayer on the field. So certainly something awesome to look at here at the middle of Lucas Field. As I zoom out on our YouTube live stream, you can take a look there if you'd like. So proud of Amory and her boldness and courage to step out in her faith and do this prayer at the middle of Lucas Field here, surrounding the split face at midfield. There's got to be hundreds of the student body out there at midfield. As so proud of Amory and what she's done. As we do have a YouTube comment here on the live stream, someone said, "You're never out of the game with Sean Price as the head coach. Don't call it a comeback." I couldn't agree more, as he will sneak up on you and pull the rug on you sometimes. We're awful thankful to have Coach Price as our head coach. Labette County falls 49-20 on homecoming evening here at Lucas Field. We will talk to you next week when we travel to Coffeyville. That should be fun next week up there playing the Golden Tornado. For John Kohler and Kayla McKee, my name is Jack Leake. Labette County falls to 1-4 on the season. We'll talk to you next week at 6:30 for the Tank Connection pregame show right here on 106.7 KLKC Parsons. And as always, God bless.